Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Octane Online Racing. We're at Zandvoort for round two of the ACC Simrigs Sprint Series Season 19. I am joined by Blake Griffiths this evening, and I am Jaden Rondinella. Yeah, this is Split Blue. Uh, First time for this season for me. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks. I'm excited to see some split blue action. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm very excited, very excited. It's a lot of big names, a lot of new names, and a lot of fast drivers in this split. Not that every other split doesn't have fast drivers, but there's some I know, so I'm very excited for this one.
Yeah, who are we looking out for in split blue tonight, Jaden?
Well, there's a list that we can go through. We've got one of my mates, Jamie Conboy, out there tonight. He's very quick in that GTR. I can also see Austin McNeil's Lamborghini back there, which was in one of his earliest little flip stories. Austin McNeil is one of the fast drivers. I believe he won last season's Split Blue. That was a great season to watch. Yeah, there's that Lamborghini, and there is also some other great drivers that I can't remember who else is driving. Oh no.
I put you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah. But that's all right. There's also a very diverse grid out here as well. The amount of different cars is nice to see. Oh, Reynolds. I forgot about Reynolds. In the Honda this season. That's a bit of a different change.
I believe also Brenner Ellis is pretty quick from memory.
You would be correct. I remember Ellis being up near the front pretty much the whole of last season as well, which was good to see a Porsche pushing out past the limits. But I do know that these drivers are quick and very excited for it. Before we get into that, though, there is a discount. If you're a Patreon with OOR, you can get a discount over at simrigs.com, which I believe is a 5% discount. So if you want to get any sim racing gear, head over to simrigs.com.
Yeah, as we see Brenner Ellis actually lay down the fastest time so far with a 1:35.1. I think we should be able to see a little bit quicker stuff than that, but it is early days yet.
It is.
I mean, already beaten by Vettiger in the 999 BMW with a 1:34.9, breaking into the 1:34s.
Yeah. How can I forget Nathan Monks, who won at Paul Ricard last season? So that I can't believe I forgot that Ford Mustang driver up at the front there, which at this split especially doesn't look like it has many Ford Mustangs out there. So this is going to be a bit of an interesting one. See how this plays out in Split Blue. Same with the McLarens. There seems to be a thinned out herd of McLarens this season. Trent Callahan holding it out with the McLaren from last season as well. Do love the anime livery on that car. He is a big fan of Dragon Ball Z.
You're gonna need to go Super Saiyan to produce a good result tonight, if you will.
Especially at this track, a fast track, not many opportunities to overtake as it's very tight. But with the double pit stops tonight, there is a lot of opportunity for error, especially coming from drivers like JC. But
whoa, you said it, my man.
We're hopeful that they will drive well and there'll be a good night for everybody out there.
Time to JC mention was about 4 minutes into the stream. Yeah, it should be interesting. I know a couple of people are keen to see how Monks does in that Mustang. It looks like we got one more with David Marsh, currently holding it down in P23. But yeah, it's a really, really interesting track, a really tricky track. If you were with me on Split Yellow, I was talking about it a bit then, but it's a track with, honestly, it feels a bit relentless. There's the pit straight, there's no back straight really. This is the straight and it's a bunch of corners and a bunch of crests. It's very tricky. It's also extremely, extremely hard on the tires out here at Zandvoort. So I wasn't sure in Split Yellow if we would see people taking tires, as they're not mandatory. Fueling is mandatory, but it is a fixed time of 25 seconds. It does take 30 seconds to change the tires, so it's an extra 5 seconds. I do believe many people ended up actually taking tires at least once, though. So, because track position is actually really, really important here, it's very strong, but a lot of people seeing the tires actually being worth the extra 5 seconds in that pit stop, at least for one of them.
Yeah, look, I accidentally, when I raced in Split Yellow, took 2 tires. I meant to only take it once as I pitted on the first lap, but it's definitely not a great track for tires. And if you're willing to do it, you can do it because you can hold on to the position, but you will be fighting not only the people behind you, but with your own car, just trying to get it around the track. So, is it worth it? Maybe, probably not. But we do have Ashlyn Reynolds in the Honda with a 34.5. I'm interested to see how well the Honda does hold it out tonight. That car, I've heard, gets more and more difficult as the race goes on.
Yeah, I didn't quite see what ended up happening in Split Green last night, but I know that Fadley Rackmat is running it this season, and he was looking pretty racy. Josh Vedica coming in with a new fastest time, 134.4. Bails out, not going around again. Coming back to the pits.
I think something interesting to also look at here is that we're on a very cold track, and cold tracks are known to have some of the fastest times on there. So we're looking maybe dropping into the 33s for this race, in qualification probably. But because the fuel is also so low, because of the mandatory fuel pit stops, it is likely that we could also see these very low qualifying times in the actual race, depending on how hard people are going to push it, which, knowing these drivers and knowing that everybody wants to race really hard, it's probably going to be likely that there is going to be very, very quick times out tonight.
Yeah, it's been pretty quick throughout the splits, actually, but we'll see if anyone can crack that magical 133. Ugh. Austin McNeil's livery is a thing of beauty, actually, as Monks goes a little bit wide behind him.
That Mustang, obviously, just a little bit rowdy. And that Mercedes, I gotta say, it's nice to see Mercedes still holding on strong within the thing. That is a 10th up, though, which should gain a few positions. Right there, yeah, that's up to 13th. So that's what, 2 positions, 1 position gained? That's all right.
It was a few. Don't be so
big
specific. As we follow along with Layla Bell in the 987 Porsche, currently kind of very, very even on her current best. Oh, gaining a bit through the last corner. And she'll move up at least 1 position ahead of Johnston there. Very nice.
This top 10 is looking like a very interesting time and strong competition as well.
Fighting a bit through the first corner through Tarzan and Bocht. Don't expect any more corner names. I think I did enough on Split Yellow, to be honest.
Look, I'm not going to even name a single corner. It's that corner. That's what that corner's called now.
It's 1 through 14. That's it.
Yep. I don't think anybody needs to know the names of the corners. No. Look at JC's car. I feel like that's got a bit more blue on it than it did last season.
Wasn't he running like a Galaxy print last season?
Almost. It was like a very chromy, almost like purple, like deep, deep purple. It was kind of beautiful. But now this is yeah, very bright with the green and the light blue. That's I actually don't mind it. I think it can match. I'm not too sure about the green, but the blue definitely matches along.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I always enjoy something nice and bright. I do think the green is sticking out slightly if we're going to be a bit technical about it.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But we are seeing right here, Babby up with a 3/10 up right now. There in the Porsche, with as we're talking about, with green rims, which is that's not Peter Griffin, is it?
Oh my god! Yes. Oh, that is one of the liveries of all time.
It's definitely a livery, and look, people get creative. That's certainly some type of creativity. But 3/10 up, that's going to drop Abby down into the into the 34s, moving him up to 5th place. Sorry. Yeah.
I don't know. We're following on with Trent Callahan in a much nicer livery on this number 12 McLaren. Currently 1/10 down though on his best time. Coming through at Hansa box. Down this very small straight, Takumo box. Get it turned in, touch a little bit of that concrete, touch the concrete on the outside, and switch cameras. JC, show me how it's done, please. Again, a little bit of that inside concrete, a little bit of the sand on the outside. Not too much trouble. Still 2/10 up. Should put him up a few positions, actually. We've lost a little bit. Only up to P7 for JC in that GTR.
We are in the final 2 minutes of this will be the last laps of the qualifying drivers. Reynolds up here in the Honda, which is Boss Coffee. Interesting livery there. Currently a 10th.5 up and losing time, gaining time, going faster. That's all that matters as he gets this Honda around. Now,
we're flitting up and down here, but it could be enough to get up into P1. But as you were saying,
it's very, very close between these drivers up here in qualifying. If you do look, only not even a 10th between them. So this is very important that these last corners are done correctly as we are heading around to that small straight that I can't remember the name of. But the time is being lost. So will it be enough? Look at just the change, just that small little bit of change going around each turn can change how many tenths very quickly, and it is going to be close, and that is the fastest lap so far.
It's enough.
It is
enough.
Wowee.
Ashton Reynolds fastest time in the Honda. The gauntlet is thrown. Jamie Conboy up 3/10. That's gonna catapult him up if he can hold on to it into maybe P3.
P5.
I may be stupid. P5.
Look, it was close. It was very close. Let me.
They put me on here to yap. Don't put me on here to do mathematics.
Perfect. I don't do math either, so that's all good. We're gonna be stopped.
All right. Who have you got your eyes on as we sit on the grid, getting ready to go?
I'm going to be very heavily watching that Honda. That's a very interesting drive. I missed the drive yesterday from... I don't remember who was in the Honda yesterday. But very interested to see how well it performs out on this track. What about you?
I think my eyes on Austin McNeil. I've got that Lamborghini affinity. I do also always enjoy watching Jamie Conboy. He is a spectacle at the very least, and I mean that in a nice way.
As much as you can make it.
No. I mean, he always makes for an entertaining drive.
Yeah, that's fair. No, but it is looking like an interesting field, and as we'll talk about before, these liveries are great. Seeing not a lot, but some liveries that were shown off last season as well, and it's good to see them back in and around. And some new liveries, and maybe even some upgraded ones, because I feel like some of these are similar, but just been upgraded quite a bit as well. I'm loving the difference in design, the different types of sponsors and everything everybody has on their cars, and it's kind of what makes the cars unique, you know?
Yeah, very much so. I think there's 2 different Coca-Cola cars on this grid, which is quite fun.
Didn't expect to see the Matrix out here.
Yeah. Who's that on that last Ferrari there? I didn't get to see. But yeah, really nice liveries.
But it is very exciting as we are about to get into the race, and I will let you do the start race call, by the way, because I did the intro.
Okay, very well. What are you thinking about when you've got 30 seconds to go, apart from pushing drive? Because we did see a few people start from the pits for not pushing drive in the other splits.
I'm always triple, quadruple, every type of triple checking that my right setup's on and that I've got the tires ready, and especially with a race with a pit stop, that my pit stop set up properly. I spent about the last like 20 seconds triple checking that before I even click drive. And don't forget Motec. Yes, that's also something I check when I'm doing my setup stuff. It's just making sure it's all good to go.
So, for those who aren't very familiar, what does "Don't Forget Motec" mean?
So, interesting fact. You can see every little bit of your inputs and everything by checking your Motec, which is kind of exactly that. It's your pretty much your statistics of when you're throttling, when you're braking, everything like that. So in the OOR series, you're kind of required to have your Motec turned on, just so they can go through. It's a way to prevent cheating. It's also just good statistics to see how people drive within OOR as well, I'd assume.
Yeah, fair. Very interesting. As we've got our formation lap underway, everyone getting into single file, trying to warm up the tires the best they can. I don't believe they're actually allowed to weave in the formation lap in OOR, but the nerves building.
I believe they're allowed to weave until it goes to double file, and then it's just the little brake and accelerator at the same time.
Yeah, right. Okay.
But weaving pretty much does nothing anyway. So, small tip: don't bother weaving. Weaving is useless. It looks cool, but it's so useless.
But they do it in F1. Surely it works.
Yes, they're very different cars, but.
All right. Coming through. Where are we? Box 10, actually. Bit of a straight. I'm coming back into double file now. No weaving, please, ladies and gents. Time's over. That Peter Griffin Porsche is just horrendous. I'm sorry, it has to be said again.
It affects my eyes. I don't like it.
Alright. Coming down to Kuma box. Second to last corner. Sort of one in the same, really, in a big, long, wide hairpin.
In the cars, stay on their pit box. Let's have a look.
Medica getting right up as far possible to get the best start. It's hard to make a move from the outside, but he wants to get it done. The race starts to initialize, and we are green. Away we go. We've got someone swerving right into the middle. No bowling, please. Keep it nice and tidy. Vertigo around the outside. They're still side by side. Oh, McNeil goes very, very wide, almost onto the sand as they're coming into single file. You want to be in single file as you go through this track. Side by side is not advised. As someone extremely wide, Babby in the Peter Griffin Porsche, kissing the wall just a little bit. Not sure what happened there, but McNeil and Babby now side by side, wheel to wheel. Dangerous stuff coming through this straight, but not straight. Babby conceding position a bit as Jamie Conboy taking some grass with him. And we've got number 87 off the track. It looks like we've had maybe a bit of a moment at the back. A couple of cars dragging on a little bit slow. Might see that a little bit later. One for the stewards, perhaps, as we follow along. Ashlyn Johnson in the 55. Aston Martin. Looks like a relatively clean start.
It looks like a very, very clean start. It's good to see some good driving at the start of this season. There's no reason to be upset about no drama. We love no drama sometimes, especially at the start of a race. And we have our field kind of set out. It looks like not many positions have changed off of really the qualifying time just yet on the first lap. But we'll be looking out now to see if anybody does pit coming in to the second lap of the race. which we do straight away. There is a few people already pitting, which might be the strategy.
As Vedega goes around the outside, I think that move is not going to stick though, as Reynolds is able to get back up the inside. I do believe Jamie Conboy lost a position. I think he started in 5th. He's down in 6th. He's going to have to work to get that back up. Get back up into that position as Ellis all over the back of Vedega. Vedega all over the back of Reynolds.
Well, if we actually look at that, Alex has made up already quite a few positions, starting in 6th and already into 3rd. So that's 3 positions already made very, very quickly. You've also got Monks has stayed pretty much in the same spot. Johnston has pitted, so that's why there's been a bit of a change around there. Burton's still in 9th, and Thistleweight has moved all the way up from 10th to 8th. So the top 10 has changed just a little bit. With Bushel coming from 12th. So that's also making it into the top 10 now. So now it is all pretty much everybody just needs to keep it clean, hold the race down, and get that strategy right. We're going to see what strategy works right here. We're going to find out whether taking tires is worth it. We're going to find out whether people can actually drive and whether the Honda will last.
So, speaking of strategy, before we get too far away, you said that you did this, and we watched Ashley Johnston, I believe. Oh, hold that thought. We'll watch this replay. Oh, Mike Crick getting sideways just of his own accord, I believe. And that's that incident on T1 I was talking about. But, sorry, my point was, you said that you pitted on the first lap, and we watched Ashley Johnston pit. Can you tell me the thoughts behind that on a first lap pit?
You have so much cleaner, because you're pretty much guaranteed to come out ahead of the leaders before they start their second lap, which gives you enough time to kind of keep it ahead of them. And the undercut on this track is very short. We're getting another replay really quickly. There's just been a little bit of contact there, and then I believe he's tapped the grass on the outside, which has caused that spin. It's just not really ended well for that McLaren there, which is very unlucky in that situation. But back on the strategy, it works. The strategy does work, but you've got to pretty much be perfect on it. Taking the tires is definitely worth it, in my opinion. But it's all a matter of timing it right and making sure that you are quick on your outlap out of the pits and making sure that you're gaining positions the whole time, because otherwise you can end up what happened to me, which is where I ended up hitting a few people and causing a few incidents, which we won't talk about because that was very sad. But we're getting a little image of a Porsche, the Peter Griffin Porsche on the grass, and as soon as you touch that grass, you're off, shooting off into space. Yeah, not exactly where you want to end up.
Back to back quickest laps, both for... I actually forgot who the first one was, but McNeil, it was immediate. So things are ramping up a bit. But yeah, it's thanks for sharing that. It's interesting. I do think that's a strategy that really makes sense, because then you get that one done, get it done nicely, and you're not having to, it's not lurking over your head. You've just got the one to do. You take the tires, and it's nice and clean.
Yeah, the best point though is you're coming out into clean air, so you're not going to be destroying the tires as well. So you can definitely last a lot longer out on the track. And yeah, you're able to just go full speed, get the times down and everything, which is always great.
As we sit on the dash with Austin McNeil in his number 72 Lamborghini, following behind Ellis. Nope, that is Josh Vedega, I believe. Sorry, Ashley Vedega. No, there is a Josh and an Ashley. My bad, I'm not sure who that is.
What's one of them?
That would be Joshua Vedega, actually. as Vedega's looking around the outside again. Oh, a little bit of rubbing. Nothing too bad about it, though, but that move is not going to get done. You really have to get yourself on the inside if you want to make that work, or be Benjamin Piper and somehow force a switchback around Tarzan Bocht. But I like to see it. I like to see the aggressiveness from Joshua Vedega.
Yeah, and... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, our front pack is really nice and tight together. There's not even a second between any of them, between the top 5.
And it's barely a second over for 6th place as well. And going up above that, like they're still holding it all pretty close, which is really great to see, the hard driving. But you just look at that pack there. That is a pack of very fast drivers, all fighting for what I believe will be a championship this season, which is a 6-race season. So it's not really big enough to. How can I say this properly? It's a big season in terms of the races matter a lot more because there is a lot less of them.
Yeah, it's a bit of a sprint season, if you will.
It's definitely that almost a super sprint season. Just those short races, long races, but not a lot of them, which is really it's really going to make a interesting field of cars, as we're seeing just exactly what that Honda can do with the BMW being able to keep up right with it. But Alice is also not letting him get away, with the Porsche not being the greatest in straight line speed, but still able to hold up for the most part and keep up with them. Alice is not a driver to be played with. Looks like a lot more people are joining the chorus of indicators that JC started last season. As we can see, McNeil has his indicator on, and last race Nathan Monks had his indicator on. So it's definitely becoming a popular trait among drivers.
Why are we doing that? Is that an accident?
Definitely not. It's definitely not an accident. I believe it's for the confusion, to confuse everybody.
Never let them know your next move.
Exactly. If you don't know what you're going to do, how are they supposed to know?
Exactly. As we're in the helmet cam of Breno Ellis, and we're no longer anymore. But outside shot, coming around through Kuma box. Little bit of sand for Vedega. Doesn't actually affect you too much, but snaking along, once that slipstream, alongside, around the outside, is he going to get it done this time? He's ahead. He's a car length ahead, but he's holding it out. Nice and respectful driving, but we're still side by side as we're coming through Gerlach box. Oh, a little bit of contact. Oh, it's a bit squirrely. It's a bit tricky being side by side through there. And Vedega down to P4, paying for that aggressiveness, I guess.
As I was saying earlier, it's very, very hard to overtake on this track. And the work that they're going to have to put in to get past, it's just not going to really be opportune, especially if the driver knows how to defend like Reynolds does up here at the front, just holding that inside line and blocking it for long enough. He definitely could have probably taken the line and blocked off the Honda there, but it's just not been left out well. And then, yeah, going through this sector here in the replay you're watching, it's just they're not leaving really much room in between them as it is racing, and it's just left him out in the dirt. And it's just unlucky in that situation. But they're still racing strong. He's still in the top 5, so he's still going to go back for that position that he can, and hopefully make it up to second and maybe even try to take that first position. But that's where I feel like the pit stops will definitely come into play. So it's just really now waiting to see whose tires die first or who pits first in this top 5.
Yeah, I think they're going to have a fair bit of trouble just making a on-track move here. Patience might be the game tonight, but I like to see it. It makes for good watching.
I think another thing to look at as well is the amount of time that some people take in the pits as well, because everyone obviously has their different Not necessarily how good they are in the pits, but the turning off of the car and turning it on at the right time can be a matter of seconds, and those seconds can vary, like count a lot, especially in such a tight race where everyone's still keeping it within a second of each other up here in the front. Um, and yeah, they're clearly going to have to work for any kind of win.
Yeah, definitely. As Trent Callahan gets a 10-second penalty for out of position on lap 1. But yes, I do think with it, how tight this front pack is, getting that pit stop absolutely 100% correct is going to be critical, because you cannot afford to be losing time. I mean, it's literally still all the way to 6th now, less than a second between every car. And if you're slow on the ignition, slow on and the engine start, a little bit too far forward in your box, you're going to lose position for sure.
And any minor mistake, really, you go off the track for a second or anything, you've lost positions that are going to be very, very hard to get back. You could be a lot faster than the driver and still not be able to get past it just because of how the track is laid out. It doesn't matter how really great someone's defense is, especially on a track like this where it's just so fast, I guess you could say. That a lot of the turns you take either are very, very tight and it's very difficult to get around, or they're really quick and there's really no need for braking. So there's just not much of an opportunity to get around.
Yeah, I mean, speaking to what you were saying with like having a small off, we saw Babby go into the sand trap a bit, and they're not even in that top 23 anymore, as far as I can see, where they were running, I believe, in the top 10, like just paying for it so much. That was a pretty big off, though, but yeah, you're going to pay for it.
But even slightly, like just a slight touch of the track on of the grass on this track, because of the sand underneath, it just creates for such a easy surface to just slide off and keep sliding. And you can be on the brakes as hard as you want or accelerating out of it if you try. It just sends you. There's just pretty much no way to stop once you're off the track here. It's kind of difficult as we are getting our first blue flags here in the track. Bound to happen, especially with these pit stops. But again, this just creates that chaos that might induce a overtake if the blue flag does go wrong. Rolls right with somebody.
Yeah. One driver's wrong, the other driver's right. It's a bit of a cross up there. Nice things.
Maybe a little bit.
No worries. So still, I was going to comment just before, I believe Ellis had put nearly a second between himself and Neil, and it's back down to Nielsen's hits. It was back down to 0.6, but McNeil opting to come in 1/4 of the way through the race.
So it looks like McNeil is going to go for the almost kind of like 20-20-20 race where they do 20 minutes on each stint, which could work. 15 minutes? I don't know how long that first stint was. I think 15 minutes there, 15, 20, 20, whatever their race stint's going to be. But this is going to show exactly the differences in strategy, because I was honestly starting to think that they might go all in at the same time with just how close they were keeping it. But McNeil pitting early will definitely see how well he can do an undercut.
Yeah, maybe McNeil just realizing that a move wasn't really going to happen, and yeah, trying to get it done through an undercut rather than on the track. So we follow along with. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, I wonder if he's going to come out in clean air. I wonder if that's why he pitted then, because then that way he can get as quick a lap as possible with some free space. But back onto what you were saying with Preciado.
I was just going to say we're following along with Appreciato and the number 11 Aston Martin. But having a look at the track map, tagging onto what you said, McNeil is not in free air. He's in a bit of a pack. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but he's not in free air.
So he's a little bit in a pretty horrible position, but there's not really much you can come out and do about that, especially on a track that's so packed full of different pace drivers. You're never going to really find that spot that it opens up, and we do see him there just stuck behind the limit. But we do see Trent going alongside Apreciado. Callahan taking on the inside, and Apreciado giving that space with the braking of early, and Callahan's going to take that position, and let's see if he can hold it coming out of the turn, which he does. Now all it is for Callahan is to keep it on the track and keep it safe. With that 10-second penalty, that pit stop's going to be a 40 seconds if he does take tires, which I believe he's going to. So he's going to be wanting to gain as many positions as he can, and I believe that puts him into 11th, which is almost the top 10th, which I believe is really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah, nice move by Callahan. Broke pretty late there. Got it done nice and clean, like way ahead. So nice and clean move. It's a shame about that 10-second penalty. I believe that was from the actual start procedure. Nothing, no collision or anything like that. Back along with our top three. Looks like Vega's put a one second between himself and Jamie Convoy in that Nissan GTR. But it's still very tight up the front.
But this is where we do see mistakes also start to happen as the drivers do get a bit more comfortable with the track and the field does split up a bit. Drivers start to make mistakes as they try to make up that distance and the pace, and as they try to keep up with each other. But this is where you will see the drivers put in their best work as well, with Alice really fighting that Honda for position, getting up and close as he can. That is very nice driving from both of these drivers. These turns are a lot more difficult than you'd expect. This is probably the easiest part of the track right here, and then the rest of it's horrible.
Yeah, indeed. And it's not even that easy. Kind of coming over that crest and braking and then coasting a little bit. It's all, it's a bit of a dance with the feet. But yeah, all these guys making it look nice and easy. Ellis opting for a slightly tighter line through box 9 rather than Reynolds using all of the width of the track there. It's an interesting corner because it is a bit variable depending on your car, like utilizing different lines.
Yeah, it's always, yeah, as you were saying, it's very interesting because a lot of tracks do open up for different lines, and different drivers take the tracks very differently no matter what car they're in. If they're in the same car as someone, you can see a pass or the Porsche, the McLaren here getting close, of McLaughlin overtaking, I believe that is Steve Lewis, getting overtaken there. But the Porsche obviously really great in the corners, and we are also seeing Alice go for a move, and there's contact between the two front runners. Alice and Reynolds have spun after a little bit of contact, which puts Vettiger up in first place in that BMW. I believe Reynolds is not going to be too happy about that, but they'll be up for the stewards to decide what goes on there and who was completely at fault. But that also moves JC up into second place, with Vettiger taking the lead. Here's a replay of it.
Yeah, so we're going to see Ellis move to the inside there. I think coming in just a bit too hot to get that move done. Lucky he didn't get beached on that curve, actually. But the luck swinging back around in Vettiger's favor. Now 1.5 seconds to P2 Jamie Convoy. So he's cheering.
JC will be happy, but I'm not sure that Alice or Reynolds will be happy about that. That was not the type of incident you want, especially in such a great race so far. So there'll be a little bit of upsetness there, but hopefully they can make their positions back up, and hopefully they do their pit stops very well and can gain that time. Now they're all very quick drivers up here in the in this whole series, so it'll be good to see how they navigate the field now. As we do see McNeil in 21st, just slowly now in 20th, just slowly trying to make his way back up the field, because he pitted early.
Yeah, he's at the front runners of those that have pitted so far. Reynolds back down to P8. Got a bit of work to do to get back up there.
But that Honda is quick. If he can keep those tires nice, which with this cold weather should be alright, should be able to make up at least a few positions if he plays it right. It's a very, very quick car. Not the greatest in the world, but it does the job. And got to appreciate the Aston right there. That is, I'm still a lover, a fan of the Aston. Wish I was still driving it this season. Maybe that'll be a next season thing.
I was gonna say you forsook it this season. Breno Ellis, yeah, copping a 15-second penalty for that one. Cleared up pretty quick. I think we saw that coming. As Burton, I believe, making a move on Johnson, looking around the outside, carrying a lot of speed, but very hard to get around the outside there. He's... Oh, no! Oh, no. Johnson with a second tap as well there. That's ugly.
Not exactly what you want to see when there's racing going on. I'm believing we're going to start seeing this board filling up with red on the side in a minute. But that's not what you want happening. Just you could see that little bit of contact as they came around out of the first turn, and then obviously thought there was enough room or something. There was that original tap, and then just again on the other one. Here's the replays. You see them, and it's just that little bounce off the curb there, which is a little bit wide. And then, yeah, trying to come back across, Burton does, and then it's that second tap, which he might get. I can't remember who was in the Aston. My brain's malfunctioning.
Johnston.
Which might get Johnston in trouble there with that second tap because of the no braking or anything attempted, from what I could see at least.
Yeah,
but that's for the stewards.
Yes, it is for the stewards, but yes, it looked like it could have been saved potentially, or at least not as ugly for Burton. But again, that's up to the stewards. As we have Reynolds in the pits.
Reynolds taking the pits is probably a smart decision, because now is the time that you want to try to perform the undercut, especially when when you've lost already, almost 8 positions or whatever. You're going to want to pit a bit earlier and just push it as soon as you come out. As you can see, came out in 12th place, 13th place, so not too much time lost there from the pit, which means that he can still make up time on Vediga and Conboy and Alice. So it is going to definitely be a hard race for Reynolds.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, the sort of 20-20-20 split is still relatively viable if you wanted to take tires both times. So I'm not exactly sure what they did, but so we follow along with Conboy, I believe, moving through a little bit of blue flag traffic. I believe that's the Mustang of Marsh. Oh!
Matrix Lambo getting a little bit loose there, which is not really helped by jumping on the sand out there into the last turn of the track. But I do like the livery. I think it's a smart choice. It's I wouldn't say the most intricate livery, but it's definitely a simple but effective livery, having the green letters and writing on it. You can definitely tell what they're going for with it. So I'm a fan of it, and they are driving pretty well. This is our AM class drivers. Stratford in the Lamborghini here. Currently racing with some of the people up front. Babby, who was originally started in 3rd place all the way back here as well. And here we got Trent Callahan. I'm going to see what happened here in a replay. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
McLaren things right there. That's just the car doing what it wants to do here.
So what happened there? Just like a lot of oversteer?
Just, yeah, the car on some turns just likes to, especially when you get a little bit in, just likes to slide. So it was kind of just one of those things. And here we go. We see Nathan Monks also losing it, was in 3rd position, but is now spun on the track right in front of the pits, which kind of does work out for him because he'll be able to pitch straight away. But that is a decent amount of damage. But back to the McLaren of Callahan, he definitely just had that bit of oversteer and the tires just slipped. There's not really much to save on this track when your tires slip, because once your tires slip, you're on the grass, and then when you're on the grass, the walls there. But Alice already making it back up to third, which means that the 15-second penalty might still have a huge effect on him.
As we're along with Monk, yeah, just losing the back end, a lot of correction, and we're all the way around. Similar thing happened, I believe, to Lucas Keys last night in Split Green. Not his fault, someone crashed into him, but a crash immediately in front of the pit lane, and he hobbled his way in there. It's a, I guess, silver lining. You're not driving around the track with a beat-up car. You're just straight in there and not losing too much time. Ellis taking a bit of grass there.
You lose a lot less time in a crash like that before the pit lane than after the pit lane. That's for sure. Because doing a whole lap on a beat-up car compared to maybe an extra like 10, 15 seconds in the pits is a huge difference.
So we're seeing probably about 2/3 of the field now has at least done one pit stop, but our top 10 still yet to pit.
Yeah.
Ben Curtis in the pits.
As you say, Jamie Conboy is now in the pits as well. That was one of our top 3 just then. So this will be also another interesting thing to see where he ends up, whether he ends up behind McNeil. Is this another incident which is why Jamie Conboy's ended up in the pits? Is this last turn
I think
cursed?
it
is. Oh,
he saved it. Was that
it.
the moment of, yeah, these tires are done, I'm coming in?
I think that's when you go, yeah, I need a pit now. That was just very good driving from JC there, and probably a bit of a brown pants moment. But that is a way to enter the pits if you want that Lambo almost going into the back of, I believe, Brooker here. Not really a spot where you want to go slamming into somebody, but that's JC in the pits. We're going to see where he ends up, whether he ends up behind McNeil, in front of McNeil. It'll tell you everything. That was, I'm still shocked by that drift. That was very close.
JC did promise me earlier this evening that he would not mess up a pit stop, so I wouldn't have to say anything about it. So props to JC, keeping his word in a way.
Well, there he is, already out on the track, and he is out, I believe, behind McNeil, which is fair. McNeil entered early, just behind McNeil. So not too much of a crazy time. And we see Vediga, our race leader, is now pitting in the BMW, the Coke Zero BMW. That's very nice livery as well. Which puts Alice back out in the lead, and McLaughlin currently fighting with, I don't even know who McLaughlin's currently fighting. Lewis.
That's Babby behind.
Babby behind and another Porsche in front, but they are, I believe, on either different laps or the timing board is not updated.
I'm interested to see where Vediga's going to come out. He's actually, I mean, technically still pitted a fair bit ahead of the rest of the cohort up at the top of the table.
Well, there goes Vediga coming out. So it seems JC's little slide has put him quite far behind Vediga to leave McNeil. Oh, that was a very close on the exit of the pits there between Vediga and the Ferrari behind him.
So Vediga pretty comfortably out in front of McNeil and Conboy there. Looks like that's worked out for him so far.
I'm wondering if that traffic really did hold up Austin McNeil enough for that undercut to not work out too well. Because what I heard was that the undercut was definitely the most likely thing that was going to happen. But JC's entry wasn't too much of something to gloat about with the almost spin. But yeah, McNeil seemed to have decent laps, but I guess that traffic just held him up just enough. And there is Thistlewaite, our second place, currently entering the pits, which means the field's going to get shaken up just a little bit more. That is almost our full top 10. Almost the whole field have completed their first pit. McNeil didn't take tires?
Yeah, my sources are saying McNeil did not take tyres. Jamie Conboy did take tyres.
So I think this will see whether the strategy of taking tyres does work out. I think the Nissan, no matter what, will need to take tyres because that car just loves to slide, especially with JC in it. He loves to do some drifts and show it off like it is a JDM car in Tokyo Drift, which we are in a sprint series, so it's not Tokyo Drift.
No, it's not very advisable to get sideways and lose traction out here in sprints, but it does make for good watching. So it looks like I imagine McNeil must be taking tyres on the next one. I would actually anticipate he must come in relatively soon then, because you want to have like decent tyres for half-half, right?
We look at Thistlewaite here, though. Thistlewaite's come out also pretty well. That's only a few places lost. I believe 7th is the spot. So that's oh no, there's 8th. No, never mind. So 9th the spot, but that leaves Reynolds in 8th again, which means that the pit stops worked out quite well for Reynolds, keeping their position. Which means that there's still again that chance for Reynolds to be able to catch up. Alice is now in the pit. That is our race leader, who had a collision a bit earlier on, which is why they've got a 15-second penalty. So this pit stop's going to be a very long very long one. And then we've got Bell here in the Porsche. With that is a nice, what is that, a canary yellow?
Yeah, canary yellow livery for Layla Bell. Nice touch with the Aussie flags at the end of the wing, but Bell not pitting yet, so the position, the P2 currently is a little bit of a mirage. Who is this making any move on the inside? Is that Brooker?
I think this is Brooker versus yeah, it's Brooker versus Vediger here. Obviously Vediger trying to make up time, and Brooker hasn't pit yet, so it's kind of one of these things where they've stayed out for a decently long time, and it's got them into a high position, but now they've got to try to hold on to that those spots up there.
Yeah, it's a bit odd. Like, I'd like to see some Woodsville racing, but they're not really on the same race right now. You don't want to be causing an accident, which is so easy to do here.
And it's not like obviously you don't want to not race, but when it comes to whether you want to be still racing or whether you want to be in the wall, it's kind of an easy choice, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, often you end up losing a lot of time when you're battling with someone. I don't think it's in either of their interests to be tussling like that. But it looks like Vediger's gotten pretty clear of Brooker.
And we are seeing JC catching McNeil, so I'm guessing the tyres have somewhat worked out. Look at that look at the gap made up right there by JC onto McNeil. And they are also, I believe, catching up pretty quickly to Vediger as well. And we're looking at Alice, who has exited the pits behind the Mercedes of, is that Burton? Is that who we're seeing?
Yes, that's Burton.
Yeah, so we're seeing that, and JC almost getting taken out by, I don't even know, is that a Porsche? That looks like a Porsche there. Almost getting taken out by that Porsche, but still holding it close to McNeil. And is that Alice going for a second pitch straight away? So they're going for the double pitch strategy just to get rid of those pit stops and hold it out for the rest of the race, which might work out. That is a strategy that I don't think I've seen yet. So, and I will be expecting some of the leaders also to be making another pit stop soon. You can see JC starting to become a bit more aggressive and try to push for a overtake soon, is what I'm assuming by some of these moves where he is getting pretty close to McNeil's behind there.
Yeah, all over the wing of McNeil. I think McNeil probably needs to pit soon to get some tyres. I don't know if this is going to be tenable for him. JC's closed like a lot in just about 2 laps.
They've gone from what I think there was over a 10-second gap, maybe close to a 10-second gap, and now they're within 4/10 of each other. It definitely seems like tyres the way to go. It doesn't help that the Lambo is not particularly the quickest on the straights, but they are. That Nissan has a lot of power, and that is almost the collision between McNeil and the Matrix Lamborghini. which could have ended horribly. That gave my heart a little jump there. But this
Yeah,
is very
just
intense racing.
yeah, that Matrix Lamborghini just touching the grass a bit and then losing a little bit of control. JC looking at the inside, fakes the inside. It's not really going to happen. We're too far away. But yeah, that Lamborghini just a little bit out of control. It's just probably should have just moved to the inside if you're going to let him through or make it happen on the pit straight. So we've still got Ellis and Burton all over each other. They pitted together, back on the track together.
They will probably be stuck together for pretty much the whole end of the rest of this race, considering I believe, yeah, they've both completed their pit stops now. So unless Alice can get past, but you've also got Bushel behind, who's also completed both of their pit stops. So these three drivers will definitely be pushing for their positions and trying to catch up to that rest of that field, so they don't, so they're able to overtake for the top 10 again when everyone else pits, because there is still quite a few drivers out on this track who have not pitted for their second time. So we're still really not sure where every driver is going to end up.
Ellis side by side with Burton. Well, way ahead. What's going on with Burton? Just no speed. The Porsche is not known for top speed. It made it look easy. What happened?
That was very interesting. I believe McNeil's just caught Brooker. Vertigo back in first, by the way. But yeah, McNeil's just caught Brooker here. So we're going to see as he goes a bit wide out to the grass on the final turn. Is McNeil going to go for a move up on the inside? Shows himself there, but I don't. Oh, he's braked a lot later, leaving it open, which JC's also going to try to take advantage of and push up on the inside of Brooker there, meaning they've both overtaken for the podium positions of second and third. Looks like this is working out very well for JC here, just sitting behind McNeil and giving him the opportunities to make the moves on the other drivers.
Yeah, I think Brooker just getting out of the way a bit there, purposely going a little bit wide. Good stuff. Like, as I was sort of saying before, it's not really Brooker's race with these guys up the front.
Yeah, and look, they, as much as it is great moves, you see JC getting right up behind McNeil. It is pretty good of driving from all of the drivers on this track tonight so far. Just a few incidents, but they're keeping it pretty clean as we enter the last 21 minutes of the race. And we're getting a replay here of the Lambert Matrix. Oh, just look how close that is. Oh my gosh, that could have been all over for McNeil then.
Yeah, and that would have been such a tragic end. Really great reaction speed there from McNeil. Oh, was that McNeil or Burton?
McNeil with the Matrix Lamborghini.
Yeah,
Well.
yeah, okay.
Again, still holding it strong. Johnston's also made their pit, and Reynolds has made their second pit as well, putting them into 15th and 14th. Still quite a lot of drivers out here in the front runners, and then McNeil is pitting as well, which puts JC back up into second position. This is looking very familiar to earlier on in the race. I am wondering when Brooker is going to go for a pit. We are entering the last 20 minutes. I'm wondering if it's going to be like a last-minute pit 2 times.
Yeah, it's a little bit interesting, but yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens with McNeil and Convoy. This has been a battle of strategy, really. I believe Zach Jensen saying he pulled over to retire due to a cramp, which is not pretty. Hope you're okay, bud.
Very unlucky, and hope you are all good. Hopefully that leg cramp goes away. That sounds like a horrible time. But we are moving to Nathan Monks, who has a fresh new front on that car. Still up in 7th after that incident, which is probably due to being right outside the pits. So clearly not an insane amount of time, with Belle following very closely behind. Now she's driving that Porsche like there's no tomorrow, so very clean driving from both of these drivers here. I'm wondering for this battle as well, there's a lot of battles on this field, which is making me very excited. I'm loving this.
Yeah, it's been great racing here today in Split Blue. Yeah, great to see Monks all the way back up there. That was no small accident, and to be well within the top 10, very applaudable effort.
Just looking at this field, and it's not seeming like too many cars are like It seems still very diverse within the top 10 as well. McLaren maybe holding up a few too many spots, but it's definitely diverse with a BMW up in front, followed by a Nissan, followed by a McLaren, and then a Bentley, and then it's just so many different cars. It's I love seeing the variety on the field.
Yeah, I think it's really wonderful. Hooker still hasn't pitted. I just
I'm
I
confused
can't
about this
wrap my
track.
head about it. Do they not know? Oh my!
That was so close.
Thistleweight almost coming a cropper with. I'm not sure who that was in that Ferrari, but
We
yeah,
just say
dessert. Sorry, go ahead.
Can we just say the reaction times of these drivers tonight is very insane with how quickly some of these drivers are reacting to almost absolutely getting destroyed or destroying another driver. They're just able to pull out that last second. It's kind of almost working out. I'm not trying to jinx it here, but it is almost working out.
Renault Ellis having a look up the inside. Not much to do there. A little bit too far back. On the back of Ramdani.
Now, as you see, Alice, that 15-second penalty has definitely affected them, leaving them behind Reynolds. Not by enough, though, because Reynolds is still only not that far ahead. I can't get the maths right now, but still not like that crazily far ahead. There's still time for Alice to make up positions and get close up to Reynolds again.
Oh,
That was interesting.
I think Ramdani is trying to get out of the way of it because they're a lap down, but it's very tricky through there. And yeah, they ended up eating a bunch of grass. Luckily, nothing too bad to come from that, but that's a brown pants moment for sure.
Now, what do you think about Jeff Coates' livery here? It's a nice, almost like sunset livery.
Yeah, I think it's plenty clean. I feel like it feels like it's almost missing something from the back though, because it's so. I hesitate to use this word, but plain.
No, I could see that how it just almost kind of just sits there at one color at the back. It could probably use maybe like stars or something on it. I don't know.
Yeah. I think like even just chucking a couple of sponsors on there. I think it's interesting. I'm not really one for advertising, but sometimes the cars do look very, very plain without many sponsors on them. I think they don't look as much like real air quotes race cars. So that might be contributing to it as well, because I think there's only the mandated like Octane liveries on there.
It's a cocktail on the side. I do agree with that. Don't we
Tequila
all?
Sunset, yeah. So
Um,
following along with Lewis in the 959 McLaren up the back of Appreciado. And Ellis is probably honing in behind them. No, that was Callahan behind. This field is all a bit messed up.
I think the thing that we do really need to look at is the 11th, 12th, and 13th position. McNeil, Reynolds, and Alice all pretty much catching up to each other. It's getting very close between those three, and they were the front runners at the start of the race. So I'm very interested to see how their situation ends up. As you can see, McNeil here, and just around that back end of that corner was Reynolds coming around, and not too far behind that is Alice. You could just see. I imagine you'll see Alice coming around that corner in a second, right there. Now that, if you look at that, does not seem like much time. We are seeing, I believe, a Mercedes in the wall back there, but we'll try to ignore that as much as
Yeah,
we can.
someone a little bit beached in that sand trap, and I think they were just waiting for their turn to join the track.
But this looks like it's going to be a close fight, and it is very like it's going to matter a lot on how Jamie Conboy's thing goes. And here is the replay of the Mercedes coming around. Looks like to take avoiding action and just ended up losing it, which is not exactly how you want to end up. But it will matter how Vedega takes their pit stop. It will matter how Jamie Conboy really takes their pit stop. Same with Thistleweight. Everything's going to matter. As we do see, Vedega has pitted now, meaning that puts JC into first for right now until he pits, and then we'll see where he does come out.
So if you're JC right now, what are you thinking? Are you pitting next lap to respawn to minimize the undercut, or are you holding out for longer?
I think he might hold out for as long as he can. I think he might go for maybe another 5 minutes. And we are seeing the again, just another one of those situations where it's so close. I believe that's Thistlewaite coming up onto the back of Brooker there. Yeah, that was that again very close. Scary. They're trying to give me a heart attack here. I don't like that.
Yeah, Thistleweight again, really great avoiding action with Brooker still hasn't pitted, going for the marathon run.
I do wonder what the penalties would be if someone did do a full race with no pits, even though there is two mandatories. Is it enough of? Is it only time penalties, or would it come down to a disqualification?
I personally am not sure at all. That's one for the stewards and the race directors, but I don't know. Are they not aware potentially that there's mandatory pit stops for this race? That I just am not really sure. We'll have to wait and see. We're just speculating at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see because I'm wondering if it is going to be the last two pits in a few seconds. And Vediga, by the way, has made it out of the pits. I believe it looks like 11 seconds in front of McNeil, but that could be wrong because timing boards do like to have some fun. But far enough along the track that it is true. That's a lot of time between McNeil and Vediga there. So. That could leave JC in a good spot to either come out in second or maybe even still first if he does it right.
Yes, so it looks like 10 and a half seconds between Vediga and McNeil.
And Babby, who started in third in the, I don't even want to say, in the Peter Griffin Porsche with a bit of damage on it, is overtaking here. It looks like Ramdani. Oh, they're getting very close coming through this section. This is there's the tap. Not a great section to be side by side. To be fair, I don't think any of this track is.
No, it's not great. It looks like the 103 car of Carlson has had a bit of an off. I'm just gonna ignore that, but yeah, it was a bit squirrely for both of them through Tarzan box and the following corners, but Babby able to get it done and get ahead.
Look, I was going to attempt to do the voice, but I can't right now. So no Peter Griffin voice tonight.
Oh, come on, you can't say that and then not do it.
No, not tonight. Maybe next week. If I'm on blue next week or the week after, and this car is still in there, I will attempt to do the Peter Griffin voice.
I will hold you to that, and chat, you should hold into that. Following along with McNeil in this beautiful Lamborghini. Looks like very clean air though for McNeil. That's it's time to make hay while the sun's shining. And Breno Ellis actually all over the back of Jeffcoat. This is for position. Jeffcoat having a relatively quiet race, at least by stream. Oh no, I should not have said anything. A bit of a fishtail, and through you go, Breno Ellis. Have that one.
The commentator's curse runs strong.
Yeah, it was immediate. It was like, boom, hand signals for spells, and you're around. Sorry, Jeffcoat.
But I think when you do look at McNeil's livery, just to go back onto his livery, it kind of reminds you a bit, well, reminds me at least, a bit of the traditional kind of race car that you'd see in movies, like, for example, in Cars or something like that. You have that kind of almost exaggerated colors and exaggerated lines with the big numbers on the car, and it's definitely a livery that catches my attention every time I see it.
As we're following on with Lee Perkins in the number 33 Ferrari, this is for position with Michael Crick, as Michael Crick has gone around. Not sure what's happened there, but evasive action taken by Perkins. I'd like to see a replay of that one, but unfortunately for Cricky, he's come around again. Jamie Conboy battling through a lot of traffic here. This is not what you want if you're trying to extend that advantage and minimize the undercut. as we get a replay now of Michael Crick. Oh, come on, mate. That's never going to happen. We watched someone else do that the other night, I believe. Atanayake, sending it up the inside. Oh, and then the extra slide around. Yeah, a bit of a low percentage move, and you're really, really asking a lot of the car to get across that bump, even in the Nissan. Sorry, that curb.
It has definitely been a night for Crick so far, especially with that at the start, and then now that little incident there. It's just not been the greatest of nights, which happens. You don't have your great tracks, and this wasn't a great track for me either, so I can feel the pain. I am starting to wonder when JC is going to pit, though, because it is coming into those 5 minutes when I said, so I assume it will be any time now. With Vediga also getting up pretty close, I'm going to say that I don't think there will be enough time for JC to be in front of Vediga, but maybe enough for in front of McNeil, especially if he pits soon.
I just want to draw everyone's attention to the fact that Brooker has made a pit stop. Big things.
Oh my gosh, this is new. This is revelations. This is
unprecedented.
I didn't think it was going to happen.
No, neither.
I was excited to see what would happen if somebody did just run a full race with no pit stops. If I'm honest,
I'm gonna ask that question because it is an interesting one. But
I think it's important to know.
Yeah, I think a convoy probably needs to come in soon as well. It's looking slidey even for him when we were following along. But Burton all over the back of Monks, all over the back of Jeffcoat as well. A little battle back here.
Out of our top 20, I believe there's only 4 cars that haven't done their second pit stop. That might be across the whole field. So it looks like it's going to be down to these last 4 to kind of show us when's the best time to pit, if it does work out well for them. And we are looking at 2 different groups here. We're looking at Alice, and it looks like
That's Reynolds.
Reynolds, sorry, my brain is not working too great. Reynolds are back next to each other, very close again, just like the start. And it looks like Nathan Monks is holding it very close to Jeffcoat there. Probably going to want to overtake soon. That Mustang does have enough power to outdo the McLaren, especially with the amount of weight the McLaren gets. But I do know the Mustang has also been bopped pretty hard this season. But we will not bring up bop talk because that will cause everything.
Yeah, best to leave that discourse in the chats and not on the mic. But yeah, it's good recovery drive, I think, for Reynolds. It'll be interesting to see where Thistleweight, Convoy, and is that... I don't know who that is. Babby Bell, who still hasn't pitted. See where they come out. But yeah, after that incident earlier in the race for Reynolds.
That would be Bell, who hasn't pitted yet, by the way.
Ah, thank you. Layla Bell.
Very strong drives from a lot of these drivers out here today, and it's good to see as well that some of these drivers are able to make a big comeback, especially from a spin like Nathan Monks had to deal with. Still in the top 10, holding out strong, possibly going to go for another move to make it certified top 10 if he can get past Jeffcoat. Oh, there's a bit of a slow up and there's a bit of a touch between the Mercedes and Nathan Monks there on the left side on camera 1. Which Burton looks like is going to give that position back to Nathan Monks. Obviously, not what you want to do. A bit of an accordion situation. You have one driver slowing down just a bit more than you expected, probably from a little bit of getting loose, and then it just caused a bit of chaos behind. But they're touching as well between Reynolds and Alice there on the camera 2, as they're also intensely battling. I don't know which screen to look at. This is very good racing from both sides. But we will skip over to these 2 of Reynolds and Alice. The Honda holding on stronger than I thought it would.
Yeah, cross your eyes to look at both of those cameras because everything's popping off on both. Burton doing well to redress that. I think that's slightly unfortunate, as you said, a bit of an accordion effect. But Ellis all over the back of Reynolds here as we come to the closing stages of this race.
Yes, only 4.5 minutes left of the race. A few yellows out on track. And a replay of this accordion effect. Just look at it. Yeah. That explains a lot. And then just, yeah, not really where you want to end up. And it just didn't work out well. So very good on Burton to give the position back to Nathan Monks. yeah, that double yellow was a bit concerning there, but it looks like it's all cleared up on the track, so everyone's going to keep racing strong. Alice holding it strong behind there, and we do see Nathan Monk showing himself on the inside, but is going to back out of it before there's anything crazy going on, especially in a turn like that where there's so much death that happens there. But it is looking clean.
Yeah, I think we just saw the number 11 of Appreciado in that yellow flag incident, at least one of them. But yeah, Jeffcoat actually coming off as the big winner there because they had a bit of an off and they were looking. I mean, that caused the accordion effect, but because Burton and Monks came together, they could not make the most of that overtake. As we again look at both screens, please, Ellis and Reynolds coming together very briefly. It's scrappy racing, but nothing to do about it.
Rubbing is racing, as they say, and they're certainly getting alongside and trading paint constantly. As you see, Nathan Monk's trying to go for the outside move, which opens it up for Burton on the inside, but Burton does get a little bit loose, leaving it open for Nathan Monks to take his position back. And you see Breno Alice on that first turn pretty much every time trying to do this overtake. It is only almost 3 minutes left of this race. And everyone's going to be pushing now for that position. They want to make up that time. Jamie Conboy needing to pit in these last few laps, or else I'm not sure what kind of penalty comes from not pitting, but I don't think it's going to be too great. But he has, with his almost dead tyres, put in a faster lap.
How has he managed that? That's ridiculous. As we have Layla Bell coming into the pits for her final pit stop.
Do you want to mention Nathan Monks is overtaken?
Yeah, well, Burton was side by side, but Monks has gotten through.
Very, very, very good racing from these three here, with Burton, Jeffcoat, and Monks all driving and racing hard and just not having it. And here's Alice managing to get the inside on the Honda. The Honda pushing him, just trying to keep him a little bit tight, braking a little bit later, but will the inside move work? And it definitely has. Alice getting the better exit out of that turn, meaning that Reynolds has been put back into 7th place.
Wow, I was crossing my fingers there that we didn't see a repeat of the original incident that I believe that they had together. But keeping it clean, as Jamie Conboy is in for the pits. Masterful pit entry, Jamie. Where will he come out? It's critical that he gets everything right in there.
I think this is the most anticipated moment at the moment, because this is exactly what's going to show who's first coming out of this. Now, I believe there's not enough of a gap there for Jamie Conboy to hold it, unless he's only done fuel and not tyres for the second stint. Because, yeah, not really a lot of time. So we will see if Vediger can make up that space and possibly catch. It will be close, because he is coming around the final corner, I believe, here, as JC is still sitting in the pit.
Yeah, I believe Vediger will come ahead.
JC's been released. Yep.
Oh, it's going to be pretty close.
It looks like Vediger has made it out in front, but JC will keep it in front of McNeil, meaning he'll come out into second place, because Thistlewaite is also pitted. So JC will be wanting to push hard here now and trying to get in front of Vediger again.
But this is the last lap, is it not? They're going to take...
It will be, yep.
So, not quite going to happen for JC, I don't think, with at least two back markers to make it through. But it's very close. You have to applaud the strategy.
It's definitely an attempt, and JC's done really well here, from starting in 5th place to making it into 2nd. And holding it out, as we are definitely 100% now on the final lap. And these first front runners are taking the final turns. Thistlewaite ending up just in front of Alice, and Reynolds also losing quite a bit of time on Alice. I'm guessing those tyres have really showed how dead they are now. So it's very, very interesting to see how everyone has ended up, especially coming from that qualifying. Thistlewaite going a little bit wide, leaving a bit more for Alice. So very, very good race.
Yeah, Thistlewaite just needs to hold on to this. This is the last lap. There's only a couple of corners left, but Ellis wants it bad all over the back of Thistlewaite's wing. Just 0.2 of a second between them. Coming down through to Hans Ernst Bocht, as we had the number 55 car has come across, I think in that sand trap again. as Joshua Vedeker takes first place. Jamie Conboy in second, Austin McNeil in third as we follow Cam Thistlethwaite round the end. Will he hold on to the onslaught of Brenner Ellis? Looks like he will do so. That strategy has paid off, and we have Thistlethwaite in fourth, followed by Brenner Ellis and Reynolds in sixth. Monks coming around the final bend for seventh. Jeffcoat for eighth. Logan Burton for ninth. And I believe we're going to have Layla Bell rounding out that top 10.
That was incredible racing for Split Blue here tonight. And a very incredible top 10 as well. Really fun to watch race. I was excited that whole time. I don't think there was a moment where I kind of drifted off. So I'm very happy with that. And JC will be happy as we do see him doing a big drift around the corner, touching the grass. So not the greatest drift in the world, but
Big
great
slide.
work from everybody.
Yeah, that was a fantastic race. A lot of really well. I mean, it's not over for a Bushel with Babby, but that's not Babby. Who is that?
That isn't
That's
Aston. I'm not sure who
Ramdani.
that is.
I think that's Ramdani, is it not?
Yes, I believe so.
I don't know where they are on the standings, but Bushnell bringing it home in 13th. But yeah, there we go. Really, really good race. I think what I really loved about that was we saw a bunch of different strategies and how they played out. I mean, it looks like it worked out for Vertigo in the end, but I would say it looked like Thistlethwaite probably had the biggest jump up. Yeah, starting P10 and I believe finished in P4. So going very, very late for that last stop really paid off.
But let's get into the standings. Did you want to call out the standings for this race?
No, I did the race start and the race finish. You can do the standings.
All right, easy as. So for the whole race, overall, especially pros, we have Vediger, Conboy, McNeil, Thistlethwaite, Alice, Reynolds, Monks, Jeffcoat, Burton, Bell, and Johnson. Oh, well, Johnson's in 11th. But that's our top 11 of this race, with obviously the top 3 being our pros there. Nathan Monks taking in the lead for silver with Burton and Bell following. For our pro-ams, we do have Jeffcoat in first for that. Great race from Jeffcoat. Preciado in second and Steve Lewis in third. And for our ams of this blue, we have Kung, Stratford and Marsh taking in the leads for the AM class. Now, that was Split Blue. Great racing for everyone. Who would you say your driver of the day was?
I think I'll hold on to what I said with Thistlethwaite. Qualifying P10 and finishing P4 with just a great strategy game, I think was a really commendable effort. Who would be your driver of the day?
Oh, I don't know. There was a lot of great drivers out there. I'm going to possibly put it on Nathan Monks. Just because of that crash early mid-race and still being able to hold it into the top 10 at the end, I think it shows some really great driving there from Monks. So good to see.
Yeah, definitely a good choice there. I mean, shout out to Vedigo though for the win. It's sometimes just interesting to pick a driver of the day that was not the winner. As we will be handing over to Split Red. I believe you're going to be still on the mic, are you not?
That is correct, but now I'll be joined by Lindsay Mundle. So
Yep,
you have a great
right.
night.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. There'll be a small break between, I believe, or maybe there won't. We'll see. But that's me signing off. See you later.
See you later. How are you doing tonight, Lindsay?
I got home from work less than 10 minutes ago. I'm tired, I'm sore, and I'm gonna forget how to speak English.
That's right.
So-
I'm here tonight. I'm more awake this week than last week. So we should be all good coming into Split Red for the Sprint Series. Round 2, Zandvoort. I don't think I need to say too much more. Again, for people who might have missed it earlier, those that don't know, Patreons get a discount, 5% discount over at simrigs.com. Please, if you're going to go get some sim gear, I do recommend at least checking them out. Again, simrigs.com, great place. This is Split Bentley now, not Split Blood, not Split Red. It is Split Bentley. A lot of Bentley sandwiches tonight. Pidge in his Savannah livery, our Savannah very, very beautiful song. And Shady Samuel in the Ford, again, for another Ford, holding it up tight in this split. This doesn't look like it has as many drivers tonight. Only 20 drivers. Oh, no, there's still some coming in. We're still in free practice. It is all good.
Yep, so the drivers will just be barreling him. Obviously, we saw Senekis and Samuel battling it out last round, so for the opener. So I think we're going to see round 2 here, and split Bentley. I love it. I love the Bentley, and I'm excited to see how everybody goes.
I mean, just look how many are there. Like, how many are there? There's 3. Oh, there's 3 just in the top 10 right now. And I believe more to join. So already quite a few there. We've got an Audi out in the field tonight as well. I don't think we had one in the splits for Zandvoort so far, unless Green had one that I missed. But seems to be holding on strong. And Sonicus currently in a 34.8 for his best lap so far. And yeah, so we're driving hard and keeping it clean. I think this is a great driver to watch. So we're going to stick on Sonicus for just a little bit. And I will be right back in a second. If you want to say anything, Lindsay, you can hold on to it. If not, I'm happy to just leave it in silence.
All right. Yeah, well, Zandvoort, very nice truck. I mean, definitely a little bit old on ACC, the version we have, but definitely still creating some pretty good racing. Obviously, we're about to tick over into qualifying in about 2 minutes, so pretty excited about that. The Bentley looks strong. I mean, the Bentley actually looks strong pretty much everywhere right now. It's quite a popular car because it hasn't been bopped as, Senekis goes very far off and just decides, hey, it's practice, let's find a wall, which is fair enough. So everybody just lapping around their final laps in practice before they'll get their nice little driver's briefing where they'll get told not to do anything stupid, and then we can continue on with qualifying in the race. So just getting ready to go to qualifying, and everybody just, you can see, pulling over. Final laps of their practice session as we look to Pete Chalmers in one of the many Bentleys. Absolutely adore seeing all these Bentleys. And just through the double right, not a lot of downforce. I'm used to the open wheelers around here, so it's definitely going to be quite the adjustment seeing these cars not carry super amounts of speed, and definitely it'll be quite interesting to see how everybody fares. It looked very tricky out there in Split Blue. I was watching on the way home from work, and yeah, it's exciting to see everybody out here as we have 23 cars right now, I believe. As just tap the inside curb there, we'll break down a lap here more as we go into qualifying in the race. So won't say too much, but Chalmers currently in P10 for the practice. That practice order is pretty representative from what I can tell, so anybody's pace. They won't be up to full pace in this practice, but you definitely get a little bit of a hint towards what the grid order is going to be like as the timer hits 0 in the practice session. Now the drivers have the race ahead of them. As we look to Ben Dyke, who's in that very interesting livery that we saw last week, and now qualifying is underway here for the OOR Simrigs Sprint Series Round 2 for Split Red here at Zandvoort. So we are ready for the racing action, and everybody barreling out of the pit lane. You can already see quite a lot of Bentleys as we look at Senekis and his Savannah livery here with car number 44 underneath him. As we'll go into the cockpit camera, just get a little bit of a view of what the inside of the Bentley is like. The not so Fanatec looking wheel. As that was obviously the Fanatec Bentley GT3 wheel is meant for their bloody hill climb monster thing. As through what is normally a highly banked corner. Oh no, he's pulled over. What is he doing? Oh, JP is trolling. Anyway, as we look to Asplin in the McLaren through the first sector now. He's on his outlap, as is everyone at the moment. As Jaden, you're back.
I am back. Hello, sorry. I just need to stretch the legs a little. A bit jump around, keep my energy up after such an exciting last race. Qualifying. We're in qualifying already. That was super quick. Yeah, how's it been going so far?
Well, nobody started a lap yet, but the first person to start a lap will be Salvaggio.
Salvaggio, I'm surprised we don't see Peach out there already.
Well, he was out like 5th or 6th in the train and then decided to troll and pulled off to the side of the track.
Okay, that's an interesting way to start your qualifying. But yep, Salvaggio out doing his first lap. Michael Babb in the Ferrari. I forgot he was driving the Ferrari this season. Hurts my brain. Looks like it's going to be a good night. I keep forgetting the split has a lot of AMs in it. My brain is so used to seeing so many silvers and pro-AMs, but again, the split also has a lot of pro-AMs as well, though. So, no, I'm very excited for the racing tonight. A bit more of an exciting race than last week. Hopefully a few less incidents. There wasn't too many anyway last week, but could be expecting to see some crazy driving. Salvaggio's got quite a bit of a gap for him to just take a nice, leisurely hot lap here. Probably a good time running on the boards right now. We can't tell because the timings are all wrong until the first lap has been completed. So this will be very interesting to see what times we're starting off with. Yeah,
I think that 34s will be the target from what we saw in practice, but you were here for blue. What was the pole time in blue?
A very low. I think it was a 44.3. I'm gonna guess. We're gonna go on high pitch there because I'm not too sure 100% if I remember.
Yeah, so 34s are the target and 4 people to aim for.
Yeah, I'm gonna say you want to get a 34. If you can get a 33, you're pretty much really fast.
Insert page.
Insert page. But we are starting off with a 35.6 for the first lap. It was 34.4 for the first race, according to Eden Squires. So thank you very much for that. But Shady Samuel also following up with a 35.4. So as it usually is, a slow first out lap. Really, I count that as the out lap because you're not really getting much done in one. But now is the time to see how fast they can push, especially now that they do have a time to beat. We are seeing Peach out there. I believe he is on his flying lap.
Yep. Yeah, Peach is out.
Flying.
Oh, yeah.
No, sorry, I was just saying that he's certainly flying in that Savannah livery, which I still do admire a lot. I do like the colours.
Yeah, it is nice, that Bentley. Looking stunning as ever. There's only so much you can do to make a boat look good, and I think Peach succeeded in his challenge as he rounds the penultimate corner, and now just about hold it flat. You got to take it so wide here to keep it pinned here in a GT3 car, that he just about manages to keep it on the road using all the racetrack. What's his first lap of the qualifying going to be? 1 minute 35.0 to top the timing sheets.
I think a big question for tonight, apart from the fact that Shady Samuel's currently 5/10 up coming around the final 2 turns, is are we going to remember all the names tonight? Are we going to get the names right? I'm hopeful that we do. But we will follow Shady Samuel around 5/10 up. That's going to put him into pole position, which will be the first 34 lap of the race. Of the qualifying. 6/10 up, meaning it is going to be a 34.7.
Yep, there's now Rashuti to the line, 35.3 to go P4 for the Ferrari 296s. Now we look to Real as he heads towards the line now. What's it going to be for the Bentley? It's just about going to be into the 35s. A 35.892 is P8 for the moment. The Bentley's looking strong.
Yeah, very, very strong. The Bentley's out there, and we got Chalmers here in... Oh, just look at that Kovacs green. It's a green livery for the Kovacs. I'm just so used to JC's Pixel Racers car. It takes me out when I see a different type of Kovacs car. But that is 6/10 up, so that would be dropping into 35.9. 35 is hard to do. for me. For some of these other drivers, they seem to do it very, very easily.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't touched the circuit. My wheel is still broken after Watkins Glen. Still not salty trust. But anyway, Peach now to the line. Samuel has topped him, but he's now 3/10 up and 34.7. That doesn't quite move him up to P1. He is 2 thousandths behind Shady Samuel as we have just under 6 minutes to go in this qualifying session. So game on here for pole position. Samuel and Sanakis looking very, very tied on pace at this current moment. As now we look to Rashuti in the Pro Class Ferrari as he rounds the penultimate corner. He is 3/10 up, but he taps the gravel. That's really going to hurt his run. He's already lost a 10th as he continues to head round the final corner flat out. What was going to be a 34 just about has now turned into a low 35. So to the line, not a big improvement for him as now Maddox to the line. 34.9 P3 for car number 765 as now we go back to Real once again, who's heading to the line in the Bentley. It's a 2.5 tenth improvement to the line. 35.6 P7 for Real as now we look to Chalmers in the other Bentley. It's Bentley City here in split red. Towards the penultimate corner, the big British boat goes, tips it in, gets the power down. Oh, a little bit of a gravel tap. A lot of drivers doing that. It's really easy to do with the gravel just there on the exit of the curb. He loses a 10th towards the line, so it's only going to be a 0.8, but not a bad effort at all. Will that move him past Underwood? Yes, it will. Just about by 5 thousandths as we look back to Peach again as he comes towards the penultimate corner with 4.5 minutes to go. He is 2/10 up. This should be enough to top Samuel as long as it all doesn't go wrong in a spectacular fashion. It's to the line now. It is looking like it's going to be a 1 minute 34.5, and it is a 1 minute 34.4. He is 2.5 tenths in front of Shady Samuel.
Incredible driving from these drivers, and he's still gaining time. Gaining time, losing time, doing well. He's still doing well. I'm not going to even try with that. But Rashuti up here as well with 2/10 up on his time. That's going to put him down into the 34s if he can really hold on to it. With a final 2 turns, and all that matters now is just holding that accelerator down, that throttle down, 3/10 up. That final turn, gaining some time as well into the negatives. I don't know which way to go. Is it gaining or losing time? But it's working, and that is into a 34.7, putting Rashuti up into 3rd place. That is a great lap right there, and we do see our Samuel out here as well. Currently on a decent lap in the Mercedes, holding on strong for the turns. Again, another car that is just holding that limiter of the I can't even remember. My brain's not functioning anymore. Passing it on to you.
As we go back to Shady Samuel as he's heading towards the line to begin a flying lap here in Zandvoort. Down into turn 1, braking on the line on the ground as 2nd gear tip it across the Mustang, not going down to 1st gear as you just want to be able to get the power down as you head up the hill now through the fast right hander. 2nd gear, get it tipped in before you're hard on the brakes. It's really easy to misjudge it around this long left-hander. It comes up quicker than you'd think it would as power down as you now head through the flat out area of the sand dunes, one of the only places on the racetrack that is still similar today, as flat out all the way to the top of the hill as you come over the crest, then smash on the anchors, not 100%, down to 3rd gear, power on as early as you dare, and now flat out through this left-hand kink, and then a big dab of the brakes in 3rd gear, get to the inside curb, but only tap it. He's even on his time right now as braking for the long right hand. You don't want to clip that curb too much. You don't want to unsettle the car, which Shady Samuel shows off perfectly as through the long left-hander. He was a 10th and a half up, but he got unsettled and is back even on time. He is just about matching his previous best of a 34.7. Now, what more does he have to offer here as he heads through the chicane here for the final sector? Clip the inside curb before getting it tipped across to the left here. Power down on the exit. He has a bit of traffic in front of him, so hopefully that doesn't bother him at all. As through the penultimate corner, 2nd gear, tip it in, trust the car to tip through, but he's lost quite a lot of lap time. But I think he compromised his run to help for the next lap. But to the line, what is it going to be for Shady Samuel? I don't think it's going to be an improvement at all here, and I think he's going to go again here in qualifying with a minute 40 to go.
This is the final laps for a lot of these cars out here now. Sonicus, that 34.4, that is a great time. Not really gaining or losing time on the delta there. We figured out the word for it. So Sonicus is holding on strong with that time. Not sure what else you could really do unless you're getting a lot more laps. but it is, again, Bentley heaven. A lot of Bentleys out here tonight. Currently 4 tenths up for real here. With, again, just another Bentley. Bentley. Might be starting to think that is not a real word anymore soon, because I'm going to say it a lot tonight.
Yeah, I think that Bentley is going to be a common theme here in Split Bentley. But we also could call it Split Samuel, as we have Shady Samuel, R Samuel, who knows? Maybe there's another Samuel hiding in the shadows. But anyway, Real right now in the car number 71, Bentley, is a 10th.5 up as he heads towards the final 2 corners. We saw him lose some time here on his previous best by going just that little bit wide. He nails it this time, is rounding the final corner. He's not even going to improve by a 10th of a second here, or just by the skin of his teeth. He's going to do a 1:35.4 there for Real, which at one point in this qualifying session would have been provisional pole, but now it is just going to be P7 as we go back to Page again as he heads towards the final sector. He is currently nearly a 10th up as he heads towards the chicane now. Just full commitment here through the final sector if he wants to find any more time here in qualifying, as the timer hits 0, so no more laps for anybody who hasn't crossed the line already. It's only people who had crossed the line before the timer hit 0 who can get final laps in. So this is Senakis' last attempt in this qualifying session to extend the gap over the rest. Right now it's not quite going to be a 10th improvement, but it's going to be pretty much even on his previous best. It is going to be a 1:34.5, so it's not an improvement. So his 34.4 will stand as we go back to Shady Samuel, who's heading through the middle sector now in P2. He has to gain just over 2.5 tenths of a second here, as he's absolutely sending it here in this Ford Mustang GT3 car. Third gear, tip it in. We saw him a 10th.5 up at the end of the middle sector last time before he hit the inside curve too hard. This time he elects to go around it as he is 2.5 tenths up nearly. This could be the lap for pole here for Shady Samuel as he heads towards the final sector. The Mustang on an absolute knife edge here as he heads down the mini straight towards the chicane. It's just enough at the moment, but he's dropping on the delta. It is going to have to be a really good final sector here from Shady Samuel. Full commitment over the curb. He's using as much track as he can. He knows it's do or die. He thinks he has P2 no matter what here, so he's just giving it everything he can here to try and take pole off Senakis as he rounds the penultimate corner, and now flat out through the final corner. Right now it's looking like it's just going to be enough, but he's bleeding lap time as he heads towards the line. Is it going to be pole position for Shady Samuel to the line now? It is not quite a 2.5 tenth improvement. It's a 34.5, 200th off Page, who is going to take pole position here in Zandvoort.
Wow. That is a very close finishing lap for qualification there from Shady Samuel. Very, very close to keeping it within the range of Sonicus and almost taking that pole position. But as we know, everything kind of does come down to this first turn of this track. 2 pit stops within this race, both requiring fuel, and it is a fixed time of 25 seconds, meaning that it's going to pretty much all come down to the pit stops as well. I wonder what the strategies are going to be played for Split Red. What are you thinking?
I don't know, you'd be the one with the experience here, not me. You've already done one race, but I would just imagine doing what JC did, pitting, I think it was a little bit earlier on, and then pitting right at the very end as well. I think that worked out pretty well for him.
Yeah, it certainly did, especially after quite a few trading of pain and everything, but very, very, very close. And great commentary there from you, as everybody's saying in chat as well. That was very, very intense and definitely highlighted just the intensity of exactly what is happening here tonight in Split Red.
Yeah, Split Red is always very, very competitive, especially in qualifying and the race, and I think it's just showing this is one of the tougher circuits out there in ACC, and it is really, really showing all of the drivers' skill here, and I think it'll continue on into the race.
And it's definitely going to, and we do, as we see every time, we've got a very different amounts of class of drivers. We've got the AMs, we've got the silvers, got the pro AMs, got the pros, and I definitely will show across the field tonight on who's actually going to be able to hold down their position and push hard. We've got another Honda in this race, a Kovacs racing car out here tonight, with looks like a quilt livery, almost kind of looks like the purple fish book thingy from ages ago, Rainbow Fish. I can't remember what the name of it is, but doesn't matter. As we continue on down the field, it is looking also again like a pretty diverse grid. A lot of Bentleys, a lot of McLarens, a lot of everything. Very interested to see how the race turns out for a lot of these drivers. I am a fan of tonight.
Yeah, I think that it is going to be very, very exciting as the formation lap will kick off underway. If you had to make one prediction for this race, Mr. Rondinella, what would it be?
I believe that they will at least try to keep it clean, but I reckon it's going to be very, very close between Sonicus and Shady Samuel. They're both incredibly fast drivers, driving very, very quick on the acceleration cars. It's just going to be a matter of whose pits work out better and whether they can keep it clean.
Yeah, so it's all going to be about the racing IQ, I think, and not about the pure pace. If you get the strategy wrong, I think it's wraps. Very tough to overtake here around Zandvoort, even with the updates to the circuit that we don't have here on ACC, but with it being even flatter, you can carry even less speed through a lot of these corners, and it's difficult to use the undulation to try go down the inside, so I think we have quite the mission ahead of us. As it's going to dump some facts here about this layout of Zandvoort. Is 4.307 kilometers and 2.676 miles for any of you weird people that use those weird units that they call the Imperial system. And then 15 corners with a race lap record of 1 minute 21.0 set in a Jaguar R5 F1 car in 2019. So that is the race lap record around this specific layout of Zandvoort. As we get ready to go racing, the formation lap is underway.
It is definitely underway, and I guess because you did such an awesome end to the qualifying, I will take the race start just to keep it nice and easy for you. But yeah, we are on for a very good race, and I'm very excited to see how this is going to go. Just look at this field of cars, and you'll see them all warming up their tires. A few people doing, as I said, in split blue. It doesn't really work. The little squiggly along the track, little side to side, doesn't really work for warming up your tires. You're better off just holding brakes and accelerating. You'll get a lot more warmth into them a lot quicker. But once they head into double file, which they will soon, because we are coming up to these closer to the end corners, which they do it a little bit earlier at the moment. It seems to make up for cleaner driving, as you do see the beginning of the too wide through. Sonic is just a little bit ahead, but they're going to try keeping it clean, nice and close. That's the importance of right now, is everybody getting nice and close and making it for a great start. My question is, are they going to be good on first turn? Will there be death? What are your predictions?
I mean, it's a very deep turn one. I think we'll see a few drivers off in the gravel and maybe some incidents further into the mid-pack, but with a 23-car grid, I don't know how much I expect to see happening.
Jeez, okay, that's not looking great, but I am very excited.
That was about turn one, by the way. That wasn't about the race, just to clarify.
Yeah. We have someone starting from the pits, possibly someone who has forgotten to click drive. It is not. It is Michael Babb. That is a Babb move. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does well coming up the field as well, because last season he was pushing. And we are green light, and away we go. People already diving from the left to the right. That is our Samuel going to look for the inside on their Ferrari there. Coming up into turn one, looking nice and close. And they're going to keep it clean. There's a little bit of 3 wide. They're getting up there. There was a little bit of contact at the back there, but they've all kept it out. It's gone through the corner. We're coming through a very dangerous section, and there's a little bit of touching there, as is expected for these turns through here at the start of the track. Still too wide. Shady Samuel dropping off a couple positions, now in third place, fighting for that third place as well. But they have, for the most part, at the moment, kept it clean. There is not, from what I've seen, been an incident.
Yep, so the drivers kept it clean. There was a concrete barrier on the right-hand side of that fourth corner, but they all managed to keep it out of it. But the McLaren is attacking Samuel right now. Salvaggio trying to put the pressure on while he can here. Early stages of this race, Shady Samuel managed to hold on to the place ahead of Maddox as we go back to Underwood versus Real. And now Underwood's going to be under pressure from the McLaren of Bolt as well. The McLaren trying the long way around is going to try and get the switchback on the Aston Martin, but the Aston with its big V8 is going to try and pull away, but the McLaren with a V8 also underneath the back of it, trying to put the pressure back on as we head down towards the braking zone. There's contact there. That's a McLaren half spun. A couple of cars off in the gravel as well. The Porsche rejoining at an opportune moment, and that is just a little bit of carnage there further down the back. I wonder what caused that one, but we go back to Samuel through the final corner, and that is one lap completed here at Zandvoort, and Senakis has already pulled away 1.3 seconds.
And that's very, very good for Senakis, because that's going to mean that his pit stop could lead to him coming out in a great position, which is what we'll be looking at here. And it doesn't look like for Split Red we've had anybody go for a first lap pit. That is something that has been done in pretty much every spot. I think even Green had people pitting on the first lap, but Red coming out at the end, they get to see what works best and what doesn't. So it looks like everybody has taken on the form that it doesn't work out well pitting at the start. So they're going to hold out onto the track. We are still watching Samuel, who is holding on strong with that Mercedes. I believe the only Mercedes in this group. And here's the replay of the start of the race. And just look how close they're getting right there so early on. And now what put Shady back so far? It was just, yeah, he got a little bit loose coming out of turn one. And a little tap there has not left him in a really great position to fight for second. Oh, and another tap there between Shady Samuel and that McLaren driver, who I'm not 100% sure who that was. Was that Maddox?
Yep, I believe so. It was Maddox, and now Samuel has the hard task of trying to overtake Rashuti once again for P2 if he has a plan on chasing down Senakis, but through the middle sector, it is single file. If you try to go for a move here, it's almost certain death and ending to your race. Oh no, that's the final corner. I thought that was a completely different corner. The flat nature of the old Zandvoort confuses me. But anyway, down towards turn one. This is where the Mustang can stretch its legs and try and get the overtake, but you've really got to have a great run off the final corner to try and get an overtake around Zandvoort, and that is what Samuel is going to be having to rely on, is through the fast right-hander. There's nothing that's going to come for a move here, so it's just all going to be down that straight towards turn one. Samuel's going to have an impeccable third sector and be right up behind Rashuti if he wants to get this one done using that Mustang's V8.
Yep, and that Mustang's V8 is very powerful. It's got a lot more acceleration than the Ferrari. Well, the Ferrari is a very good all-around car. The Mustang just has that power on exits, and will definitely work out well for Shady Samuel. I do want to point out that Maddox was our first pit stop of the race in the second lap, which does make sense. A lot of people don't want to pit first lap because there sometimes can be an issue with that. But coming out of the pits now, and we will see where Maddox ends up, coming from the top 10. So we'll see how well this pit stop strategy does work.
Yep, it's the name of the game here, just testing what you can do, because I think with so many variable strategies, we're going to see that no split has been the same all week. There's not been really one go-to strategy. It's all what you believe can make work, and I think Maddox has thought, get me out of the train, get me doing clean air laps, and I think that's his idea of what to do, as here with Hislop through the final corner now, chasing after Klopper as they head down towards turn one. Is the Aston Martin close enough to that Porsche for an overtake? He's in the slipstream, he's gaining, I think he's close enough to go for it. He pulls to the right hand side, dummies the move, doesn't commit to it though. He's going to wait for the next lap, and I think it's just patience here. It's an hour long race, and I think Hislop knew that. Didn't go down the inside when he had the opportunity. He's just going to play the patience game here. He's going to wait behind.
Yeah, which is probably, look, the smart decision is just waiting for somebody to make a mistake and sitting in their mirrors and just hoping that it comes up. As we are moving up to, it looks like Rashuti and Shady Samuel, which Rashuti's now 2.7 seconds behind Sonicus, which is incredible driving from Sonicus up there. Obviously keeping his consistent lap times, which also on a track like this is very important to be able to do. And when you're in the dust of another driver, when you're in that bad air right behind another car, it just makes it very, very difficult to get around the track. And we are seeing the McLaren of O'Brien do a little bit of a... Oh, that was very, very close between the McLaren and the Aston there of Hislop and O'Brien. But they're still side by side coming in towards this very tight turn. Now we've seen so many incidents happen, and they're very close. With the Aston of Hislop able to just hold it really, really well and not cause an accident there. That was very, very clean driving from the both of them, and lucky to make it out there. Well, we're getting a few. That's interesting. We're getting a few penalties from race split blue. Looks like McNeil and a few others have gotten penalties for being out of position.
Yeah, and anyway, there was also some penalties for Split Red as well as Zavaka and Gobe getting penalties for the car 99 and 72 in a little bit of strife here in the opening stages. But with it being a two-stop race, you'll serve that penalty in the first pit stop and then you get back underway. Just keep your head down. You have plenty of time to keep yourself in this race if you've gotten the strategy right. And something that is a big factor as well is how much fuel you've started the car with, because Sinakis is running away right now, but we don't know if he's put just so little fuel in the car or if that's just pure pace, and we don't know with the same with Samuel versus Rashuti as well. Maybe Samuel is also just not as quick as he was in qualifying because he just has a little bit more fuel in the car compared to the rest. It's all of these factors that you have to take into account, but what a factor is certain is the fact that the top three are absolutely gone from P4.
Yep, 100%. And you can already see the split coming along different to Split Blue. For those who've watched through Split Blue, the field in this one is split up already quite a lot more. With Split Blue, we had a lot of the top five being very close together for pretty much the whole start of the race. In here, seeing just how much pace some of these drivers have, especially Sonicus. Just look at that time that he's gaining on Rashuti. He's doing everything he can to make that gap big enough that he could probably, I think he might even be going to try to pit without going behind anybody. So he might be just looking to hold out at that front there for the whole race.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely is a strategy, but it's going to be very, very difficult to pull off. As do you remember what the pit loss was around here, roughly?
I believe 51 seconds is my, I think if you get fuel, it's 51 seconds. So the whole 30 plus 51, I think it is.
Yeah, so it'd be a hard task for Peach to pull off, but he already has 3.2 seconds. I don't know, at the end of the day, it's Peach. He can, I don't know, he does weird stuff. He's able to do whatever. Shady Samuel is really struggling in that Ford Mustang. He's ran deep, had a snap as well through the fast right-hander. That Mustang is not looking fun to drive at the moment, whereas that 296 looks highly planted, as it always is. Ferrari's always such a planted car, just stuck to the ground, especially in race trim. It never really complains too much, whereas the Mustang, definitely a car you've got to wrangle and keep the rear end in check, which Samuel is trying to do, but he's struggling just a little bit. Rashuti runs wide, though. We could see a position change here for P2 as Samuel is very, very close behind Rashuti as they head through the penultimate corner. It's all going to be about the run Samuel gets off the final corner. He takes it a little bit tighter. He has the slipstream. He's gaining on Rashuti. Could we see a change for the P2 place? The Mustang right up behind the Ferrari pulls to the right-hand side. He's going to go down the inside at turn one for the P2 place. Rashuti finding it back around the outside. Shady Samuel has just about cleared Rashuti, and they swap positions, and Samuel moves up into second place.
That is incredible driving there. God damn. Shady Samuel putting in the work to make sure that that pass does happen, and he's definitely made it happen. We'll see if he can make up that time that he's lost battling Rashuti, which I think is where Sonicus might have made a bit of time, and it's the fact that they were fighting so long. But now, 4 seconds behind, he's going to have to push very hard that Mustang around the track just to catch up. Again, still a lot of great driving out here, and a lot of clean driving as well, so it's great to see.
Yeah, as the 666 car gets a 15-second time penalty. That is Bab, who started from the pit lane, and he somehow managed to get a penalty for causing a collision on lap 1, so I wonder where he came out in the pack. And I think Rashuti is trying to fight this one back against Shady Samuel. The Ferrari staying with that Ford Mustang very, very tightly as they head through the final sector again. Pretty short lap here at Zandvoort, as we know, just over 1.5 seconds. So through the penultimate corner they're about to go. Rashuti, if he gets a good run, could try and challenge the Mustang here, but the Ferrari doesn't normally have the legs in a straight line compared to a Mustang, nor does really any car. as I think Samuel's had a good final corner and he should be safe from an attack against Rashuti this lap.
Yeah, very much so. And you do see that they are not really losing time on Sonicus here, and the battle is still obviously ongoing, but they're pushing hard and they're pushing hard, and we are just seeing penalties coming in now. They call it split blood for a reason, and we are seeing a replay. Oh, I believe that might have been the incident with Bab. Or was
Yeah,
that?
no, is that?
That
That's the
was it.
72 penalty. That's the penalty for 72. That's Gobe. That's why he
That
got
was
his penalty.
That was an interesting incident. It looks like it just, again, which seems to be common on this track, is a bit of an accordion effect. Someone just slightly goes off of line, slows down a little too much, and the rest of the cars obviously bunch up hard as they're trying to race hard around this track and fast. On a fast track like this, it's not really enough time for the quick reactions. And if you were watching Split Blue as well, the reaction times of these drivers are very, very quick, but sometimes it's just not quick enough.
Yeah, I think that fast reactions you definitely need here at Zandvoort, but you need ultra fast reactions to actually avoid anything here. It's basically Monaco without the walls. I know that that's Hungary's name, but here at Zandvoort, at least the outdated Zandvoort, which we have on ACC, has all the walls right next to you at all times. So definitely a similar thing. Is that's Real who's going a little bit slowly. I think that was on the left-hand side of the track, or is he? Is he pushing along? Is that another car that caused the kick of dirt? I don't know. But anyway, we go back to Shady Samuel and Rashuti as they continue to push on here. But I think that Samuel has the measure on Rashuti pace-wise. That Mustang just slowly pulling away. It's not significant, but it's already 6/10, and I think it is just pulling out just a little bit. But I think that Rashuti has the pace in the right sectors of the circuit to stay within that 1 second margin that he'd want. As here's the replay of car 71 Real, who definitely did kick up a little bit of dust there, but he managed to hold it together, which is why I wasn't quite sure, but I did think he was slow. That's why the white flag was waving. A nice little bit of drifting there in Zandvoort.
I gotta love a little bit of drifting around the track. I do want to see this track updated though. With a bit more curves and everything. Like it just would. I feel like it would be such a nicer drive because at the moment, I'm still not a fan of this track. I don't understand why some people are absolutely in love with it. This track just gets into my head.
If people can be fans of Paul Ricard, they can be fans of anything, okay? I don't think that it was... We see JC picking up a penalty from the last race, but yeah. If people can like Paul Ricard, I feel like anybody is allowed to like Zen, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess it's the same for a lot of other tracks. Like me personally, I'm a fan of Mount Panorama, Bathurst. A lot of people hate it, so
No, I mean, yeah, but people who don't like Mount Panorama, they have something wrong with them, and you can't change my mind. That or they just suck. I mean, most of the time, people who don't like Mount Panorama just can't drive it. Same with the Nordschleife.
Unlucky on JC for getting a penalty. Sorry, I'm laughing to myself. That might have been an accident. I believe it might be due to numbers being the same from last split, so it might actually be penalties on drivers this race, because we do see Pano has a penalty, and that is the same number as JC. So I'm not 100% sure what is happening there, but I believe that's the case. So if you do see a name from last split, it is probably just the thing messing up a little bit. But this is looking like a strong top 10 at the moment. A lot of Pro-Ams holding up. There is a few cars that have done their first pit. You can see Michael Babb has done his first pit. Same with Maddox, our first pitter of the whole race. And a few of the AM drivers have also gone for that. I gotta say, I do like the livery right there of Maddox. It's I'm trying to see what that is on the side, but I do like the yellow on it. And I believe that's a Hornet.
Yep. I do believe it's a Hornet. The team name is MDX Hornet, so it would definitely make sense as we get just a nice little look at the livery there. That is very, very bright and very, very good looking.
It's a very, very nice. And I would love a livery like that one day. Um, Back into it though. Shady Samuel still holding out second place, currently 5 seconds behind the race leader Sonicus in the Bentley, who's still just setting 34.5s. That's quality pace right there. And that does make sense. And as people are saying, they do call it split red for a reason with all of the penalties coming through. I'm not saying there's a huge amount, but there's definitely a certain amount. A lot of them being 15 seconds, which are usually caused by pretty decent collisions. But we won't focus on the bad stuff. We'll focus on the great stuff, like this clean racing up at the front.
Yep. So the racing continues to rage on as we look to O'Brien versus Clopper through the middle sector and down through the sand dunes. They continue to push on flat out, and no racing will go on through here. It's a single file section, but if O'Brien has a good run through the middle sector, he will be okay, as through the fast right-handers now. Keep it tucked to the inside before you head right back out towards the exit. O'Brien using just a little bit more of the track than the car 737 as they head towards the final sector now, as they cross over into the third sector, as O'Brien definitely taking a very different line to the Porsche as they head towards the very heavy braking zone of the chicane. You've really got to get this one right if you want to get an overtake done. So I think O'Brien is going to have to absolutely nail this if he wants to try and get a move done on the Porsches through towards the penultimate corner now. The McLaren right underneath the Porsche as through the fast right-hand as they go, and now flat out round the final corner. The 420 car chasing Clopper. He gets a very nice run. The Porsche was a little bit wayward on the exit, and the McLaren is going to try this, but the Porsche defending the inside. O'Brien's going to have to try this the long way around. He breaks a little bit earlier, can't quite commit to the move. That is Clopper holding P10 for the moment, but something tells me this battle is far from over.
And it definitely won't be over very soon, because these drivers are putting in the work, and we're seeing our race leader has pitted. Sonicus is in the pits currently in the Bentley, moving down into 8th. Oh, and that is not great for Sonicus. And a stop go 30 has been obtained. Interesting.
Yeah, he's really going to have to work for it now. Sonicus just put himself in a very tough spot, which puts Shady Samuel in a very good spot, as Sonicus will still have the time on track at the moment. He's going to serve that stop go 30 in his second pit stop, but that is going to be an absolutely massive pit stop, so he's going to have to play this strategy to absolutely perfection here if he still wants to take this win, as we're less than 20 minutes into this race, and it is absolutely game on. Here's the replay of the pit lane entrance. Oh, the line is just there. That's even earlier than I thought it was. I'm used to where it is on the F1 game, but yeah, it's just caught him out. Wasn't able to slow up in time. Gets a stop go 30. He's just going to put his head down and continue on. We know he has the pace, but does he have the time to pull 30 seconds?
The problem with that, I think, is I don't believe stop go 30s get taken off with you can't do a pit stop at the same time. So this is now turned into a 3 tire changing pit stop race almost for Sonicus here. And the problem is his tires are going to get very cold, because he's only got 3 laps to do his stop go 30, which means that his tires are going to end up very cold, which means that they might not even be able to come back. He's barely put time into these ones. If he has chucked on new tires, which it didn't look like he did, but this could not end well for Sonicus as he is coming in to serve. He's taking it a lot more slowly this time, so that's good. Not another stop go 30 for Sonicus here. And we will see where it comes out, because it still could be on for a really elite race from him here to bring him back into the top 10.
Yeah, so Sonicus will be taking a second pit stop. You definitely can take a pit stop with a stop go. I think he's just serving it now, so then he doesn't have to do a big chase down later into the race. I think he's just serving it now, so he can just push along all the way till the end and try and minimize the damage with as much time as he possibly can.
Yeah, and it looks like Shady Samuel is going to be very, very happy with this. Currently holding into first, and I believe that was Rashuti going into the pits as well. So it looks like Shady Samuel has got a bit of time where he can get past his blue flags and just keep driving strong, and probably go to keep into first position, which is what his goal will be now. And then the other Bentleys are also slowly catching up. You've got Chalmers and Real in their Bentleys, sort of creating a Bentley no meat sandwich, just the two Bentleys, which are the two bread, and that's it. So they'll be racing hard. I believe they raced hard last week as well, until there was a little bit of touching, but that's all right. A little bit of paint scrape is not too horrible, but they are going strong, and we are loving some of this racing.
Yeah, Senakis actually, no, he didn't take fuel. I think you might have been right then. I apologize, but anyway, Senakis now has a big charge ahead of him. I don't think this is going to be... I mean, you can't discount Peach ever, but I think it's too hard of a task. I mean, he's over a lap down right now on Shady Samuel, and he has to make a pit stop as well. So, I don't know how this is going to go for Peach here. I think it's just going to be a massive game of damage limitation here in Split Red. I think one poor pit entrance has just ruined what could have been a very dominant victory here in Zandvoort, but I'm sure he can definitely still make up quite a lot of places, maybe even still end up comfortably inside the top 15, especially with a lot of those penalties that are thrown out there on the grid. P8, P12, P14, P18, P19, P23 all have penalties, so I think that he's quite comfortably going to make quite a lot of positions back as every pulls into pit lane will hit in. We're inside the speed limit, like it. We now go back to Ramez Samuel, who's leading the race actually, in the 2-2-2-3 Mercedes. He is yet to pit. The Mercedes has absolutely huge tank, so I'm wondering what his hit strategy is, but he's going to continue to push on here. We are over the 20-minute mark, and he has a P on lap of one.
I think that's where it's going to come down as well, because people are going to let go for the lapping and stuff, because it's a very different track on. So is he going to take use of it? Is he going to just let this run through and take the penalty at the end of the race if he doesn't pit again? It's just a matter of where he wants to end up, and there's not a lot of places you can do. Apparently, it is going to be strong, though. Shady Samuel not losing too many places when he came out of the pit. Only it looks like he's made it out into 8th, which is still great, still top 10, which is exactly where you want to end up. And that is, we are looking at Rashudi, who has ended off in almost a worse position as well. That is almost down to where Peach is at. So I'm wondering what happened there. Did I miss something?
No, I don't think so. I think it's just where he's come out of the pit lane.
Very unlucky for Rashidi there. But we are looking now as R. Samuel and Ramez Samuel enters into the pits with his Mercedes. That is the first pit for them. And we're getting close to everybody having completed their first pit stop.
Yep. I think it was always going to be done before that halfway mark. I think that most people should be in the pits as Ramez Samuel also is in the pit lane, as apparently I went robot mode for a few minutes there, my internet not playing nice. So anyway, apparently I'm back, so all is well. But yeah, all the pit stops are being made very, very slowly, and then one more to go for everybody up and down the grid. And now this is where the really important part of the strategy comes in. The first pit stop, I think, is definitely easier to call than the second one, because you play so many factors in your head as a driver, especially around your track position, who you're battling at the time. You don't want to pit at the wrong moment and ruin your entire race and your entire potential of a battle with one bad strategy call, much like Ferrari likes to do in F1. I think it's just all going to be about calling this second pit stop correctly, which will really, really, I can't think of the word. It really is going to decide where you finish in this race. There we go.
And I believe this is a replay. Oh, okay. I've seen what happened to Rashidi. Yep. It looks like just maybe going just a little too long, but Rashidi's back out on the track now. That could have been engine not turning on, a number of issues, but they're back in the race now, and that's all that matters. Yeah, we're on for a pretty good race here tonight, and I'm surprised for a track that doesn't have many passing opportunities, how interesting it can actually be to watch this kind of race. And I think what helps with this is the format that OOR have gone with tonight, which is the double pit stop. I do think that was probably the right call.
Yeah, 100%. The 2 pit stops was the only way to make a race around Zandvoort interesting, I think. A sprint race around here isn't, like, I mean, I know it's Sprint Series, but a sprint race with no pit stops was never going to be exciting here because you can't overtake. A single stopper is just a self-explanatory strategy, which will end up just like a normal sprint race. So, 2 pit stops with a mandatory fuel time, I think. I think it's played out perfectly, and I think that was exactly the intended goal that OOR had for this Simrigs Sprint Series. So, I think that they've gotten this absolutely correct with the format they chose.
Yeah, and I also, before we do go any further, want to do a shout out to Benjamin Hignett. Thank you for doing the broadcasting tonight. I appreciate you taking your time out of your evening to do it. You're doing well on the cams, and we love it. I did forget to shout you out earlier, and that was my bad. I just completely blanked on what I was supposed to say at the start. But yeah, again, thank you for doing it, and we appreciate you doing your awesome camera work.
Yep, so thank you to Hignip. Also, the OOR stewards as well, they deserve an absolutely huge shout out. They're the ones behind the scenes that do a lot of hard work to give out all these penalties that you see on your leaderboard on the left hand side. So it's really good good work the stewards do. Although they might have a lot of angry drivers putting out hits on them, they deal with it. They're survivors, the stewards, and yeah, it all works out at the end of the day, and it helps the racing be ever cleaner every race, and yeah, they help keep everybody in line, which is why we see the absolutely fantastic racing we do week in and week out.
And I think, of course, one of the biggest shout-outs needs to go to the whole community as well. But also, mainly, the guys running the show, which obviously we've shouted out the stewards and everything, but we've also got Muller, Mullock running the show as well. Mull's has done a lot of things for this community as well, setting it all up and everything. Glenn doing a lot of the running of the servers and keeping everything actually working. Thank you very much for that. And yeah, it's been great. And thank you also to Matt. You've done an exceptional job running this. It's been great to be a part of, and I'm glad that I could continue to. And also shout out to just in general the whole community, as we do see Sonicus making a pass on O'Brien here. Let's see if it does work on the outside. I will stop the shout outs now, and we can continue with the awesome commentary on the actual race. Sonicus still has the fastest lap, pushing hard around this track, passing one of those Koala Motorsport cars. I'm a fan of the Koala Motorsports team's liveries. They look, generally, from what I've seen, they look very, very nice.
Yeah, I think a lot of the liveries look very, very nice up and down all of the grids. In wow, they always look pretty good, and then you look at Underwood's car that's it has a livery that's made for the wrong car. But anyway, not helping prove the point. But anyway, a lot of the liveries look absolutely phenomenal in OOR, and it's really good to see a lot of talented livery creators. But anyway, the show goes on. It's just part of why we enjoy it as we look at the Aston Martin, which is just the best looking car on the grid, hands down. The Aston Martin is beautiful. No bias at all, trust. But anyway, I know I'm going to get absolutely murdered for saying the Aston Martin looks the best on the grid by someone out there who for some reason likes a big brick of a Mustang. But anyway, we look to Clopper in the Porsche, which also looks very nice. Maybe Hignett saying, no, you're wrong, the Porsche looks better potentially. But anyway, through the final sector, we are halfway through this race, and Senakis in the Bentley trying to make up what he lost. And his Bentley looks the best, says Hignett. I mean, each to their own. They're both British machines, the Aston and the Bentley. So I guess the best looking cars come from Britain potentially. It's hot take, but anyway.
Each to their own. But I think we do need to call out the best looking car ever in this beautiful game, the Lamborghini.
See, it looks good, but no, I disagree. I think the Aston is just stunning. I think the Aston Porsche
is high up. Porsche's high up.
No
Lambo in this race. You are right.
Yeah.
That makes me very sad.
I think the Aston and the Porsche are hands down the best looking cars on the grid, and then the Bentley just after that, and then I don't like the Ferrari, so I'm not going to say the Ferrari, but I mean,
Yep, that's it.
I
But
feel like a lot of people definitely like it.
I think an obvious look at though is if you had to look at McNeil's livery for a whole race, that is one of the best looking Lambos I've seen, and it has made me a fan of the Lambo. Nope, no, that is
No,
not.
don't look at Ben Dyke. Don't look at Ben Dyke. Stop not proving our point.
But
No.
I will give it to it. The Audi is not a bad look either, but I'm a fan of the Lamborghini, so I'm going to say that, especially coming from McNeil's car, which I just really love the livery on that. I'm going to have to say that I am a big fan of how the Lamborghini looks. Not saying it's a great car. I'm just saying it looks nice.
I mean, I like the Lambo as a car. I think it looks nice as well. I think that the Aston and the Porsche just look that ever a bit better, but the Lambo is better to drive than the Porsche, I think. I mean, it depends on the drive. I love driving the Porsche, but from my experience, the Porsche loves to kill you. The Lambo likes to just be on the limit as Page sets a new fastest lap with a 34.417. He is on a revenge charge here with 30 minutes to go.
That is fair. They're getting very close to the real life fastest lap in a GT3 car here, which is a 1 minute 33.614. If Peach keeps pushing it, he might hit it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all possible as Maddox in that beautiful Hornet livery. I've got to give a shout out to the McLaren. Credit where credit's due. It's also a nice looking car. But it needs new brakes. I think every McLaren driver in the world on ACC will agree that the McLaren's brakes suck. But anyway, a car that does have good brakes is the Bentley, as we look to Pete Chalmers, who is leading the race because he still hasn't pitted. At this point, as he has a McDonald's McLaren behind him, and yeah, that green Bentley looks very, very nice. British racing green, that.
Yeah, I do like the green. It's nice green. Oh. But we could have some more fun facts about Zandvoort if we do one.
Yeah, I mean, because I was at work, I couldn't build up any. But do you have any?
I do. Fun fact: Zandvoort is a major beach resort with a long sandy beach, which is open year-round. Sorry, for sunbathing, water sports, and relaxing. Fun fact as well, though, while you're in Zandvoort, you can visit the nudist bathing section of the beach.
Oh God! Okay. Okay.
For those who love to bathe, do the nude stuff at the beach, yeah, that's where you want to go.
I get this guy. No, I'm kidding. Another fun fact that I remember now, because I do remember stuff off the top of my head sometimes, is the fact that there is a huge worry behind this circuit a lot of the time every year, because there is a driving range up against the racetrack behind one of the sand dunes. So one of these days we will find a golf ball on the racetrack, or hitting potentially a Formula 1 car. But anyway, that is just your fun facts. But now we look to we were looking at Hislop versus O'Brien, I believe. But now we look to Maddox versus Gobe. Gobe does have a penalty in that car number 72, and Maddox is not messing around here. It's going to be Am versus Silver Class, and Maddox is going to go down the inside on the Ferrari. They're going to go wheel to wheel through the apex of the corner towards Sector 3 now. They head down the straight. Will Gobe fight this one back, or is he going to back out? Maddox gets the place up into P14 into the third sector split, and very nicely done there from Maddox, but he runs a little bit deep, but I don't think Gobe is going to fight it back.
Oh, geez. They're definitely driving hard here, and you do see Sonicus also make up. Oh, here is the driving range. This is exactly what. Look how close that is. Someone's hitting that over. That's a driver coming straight down there, and you see the drivers are driving straight towards it. That's a golf ball through the window. If I've ever seen one, I'm surprised there hasn't been an accident there, unless there has been from a golf ball going through a window. And we are seeing Maddox come around. But as I was saying, Sonicus doing a huge drive, currently in 10th after serving a pit stop and a stop go 30. But some of the drivers ahead of him, including... Oh, no, he's in front of Shady Samuel, never mind. Some of the cars behind him have completed both pit stops, meaning Shady Samuel still is probably going to be able to catch up and take back that position above Sonicus. But now is the goal for Sonicus to make up as many spots as he can to get into the top 10, and it is interesting to see where this is going to go.
I think the more interesting part is the fact that Samuel Maddox, the other Samuel, Real, Bab, Pano, and Braid have both done both. They've all done both of their pit stops, and yet the top two. I mean, Ben Dyke has just pit, but Underwood still has not pitted. I wonder what the strategy is going to be for him. Underwood continuing to push away in the Aston Martin, 22 laps in, still with 2 pit stops to make inside of an under 25 minutes to go in the race. Is he putting 2 liters of fuel in and then pitting again potentially?
Well, no matter what, for this it's fixed fueling time, so it's 25 seconds no matter what. But yeah, I imagine they would have gone for starting with a higher fuel count and then just putting less and less in so they can run faster laps. But it's going to be an interesting play. We did see last race that there was in Split Blue that there was there was at least one driver who pretty much held out till the last 10 minutes before pitting both of their pit stops. So whether it's done in this race with Underwood going for a race like that, it will be interesting to see. And to keep an Audi up here in the top 10 is very hard work. The Audi does not pretty much have zero traction control. It's a bit of a crazy car to drive. I'm surprised people want to drive it as much as it is a nice sounding car. I'm still surprised people want to even use it.
Well, if you're driving it for the sound, then you may as well just drive the Lambo. It's quicker, it's better looking, and it's better to drive, and it has the exact same engine and the exact same chassis. So, I don't know, pick your poison, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably a good thing. But Sonicus making it up into 7th position, still with 1 pit stop to go. Same with a lot of the top 10 drivers. Shady Samuel just out of the top 10 after coming out of the pits for his final time, meaning he'll be put into a great position. Currently running 134s for his best lap time, 134.8. And we got Hislop here in just at the end of the top 10 in 9th position in that Aston, currently running 36s, which just shows the range of lap times on this field currently within that top 10. But awesome livery for that Aston. I do agree they do look great. But pushing on hard, got O'Brien following pretty closely behind, and will be working to catch up to Ben Dyke there. There is O'Brien there, who is followed closely by Shady Samuel, who has completed his pit stop, meaning that they will lose their position to Shady Samuel when they inevitably do their pit stop. Salvaggio has gone for their pit stop as well. We'll see where they end up coming out of the pits. And that is Underwood entering for his first pit stop. 21 minutes left of the race. That is 40 minutes of driving on that car right there. Which I forgot what car he was driving. My brain, the Aston, that's right. My brain malfunctioned for half a second there, but we are going strong. O'Brien holding in 9th now, and it is looking good for them to hold into the top 10. We will see how it all does pan out, though, coming out of the pits.
Yeah, it's all going to be the end game strategy here. Samuel is already pitted, and he's going to get Senakis. I think the big story here is Senakis, where is he going to come out, and then where is he going to finish? But right now, actually, is that going to be... Oh, Underwood's gotten a stop-go 30. Oh, no.
Is that the theme for Split Red here? Stop-go 30s. So we're going to see more stop-go 30s throughout as well. Well, I bet they'll be making Peach feel just a little bit better than another driver, especially the person who's currently in first, also got a stop-go 30. Still not the greatest situation for any driver. I'm sure Underwood will be not too happy with that.
Yeah, but anyway, the show must go on, and right now we are looking at Shady Samuel behind the P9 Sam O'Brien as they head through the first sector, and he's behind the Aston Martin of Hislop as well. So the battle is going to commence here as the Ford Mustang of Shady Samuel tried to pull up alongside in between the sand dunes, and he's still thinking about it. He puts the nose in. Oh no! He's gone off the track. He's going to have to cut the circuit. That is nearly a huge crash. Just a little bit impatient there from Shady Samuel, trying to find a way through at a section of the racetrack where you really can't get it done. And now he has several seconds to try and chase back up to them. So now we're going to focus on Ben Dyke versus Klopper here. Audi versus Porsche through the middle sector and towards the third sector now as they run off the slow left-hander and towards the chicane. The Audi only a couple of tenths behind. 5 tenths the gap between that Porsche and that Audi, as here is a replay in the cockpit, and he just hits the inside curb there while trying to stick the nose in. It's all gone wrong. He rejoins, has a little bit of a snap to go with it, and basically just giving himself his own slap on the wrist for getting a little bit impatient there, as Ben Dyke and Klopper head around the final corner now as the Porsche coming into the pit lane. Ben Dyke will take the 5th place, still with a pit stop ahead of him, and now we look to Shady Samuel, who's trying to close back up at the McLaren. He was trying to get past, is now pit.
And Underwood back in the pits again, still a third, but losing those positions now from that SG30, which, again, not really a great situation. But Shady Samuel making up positions very, very quickly and doing his best to put himself in a better position. Klopper in the pits as well, which means that is another one of the first pits. Here's a replay of, I believe, one of the... Oh my gosh. That is exactly why you do not follow somebody on that straight going to the right. Especially when you're coming up to the pits. Always stay just a little bit off. That way you can react quick. And that is a good thing for tonight. Everybody's got decently quick reaction times, and it's working out pretty well for avoiding incidents like that. That would have been a heart palpitation at the best.
Yeah, that was the Ben Dyke on Klopper moment towards the pit lane last lap as we look to Underwood versus Rockford here as we get the dual camera going, as we are also looking at the McLaren versus Senakis here. It's round the final corner. Senakis goes down the inside of the final corner. What a move this would be if he could pull it off as they head towards the pit lane entrance. Nobody pulling into the pit lane as they're going to go side by side down towards turn 1. Senakis on the inside, breaks late. The McLaren getting a little bit crossed up onto the grass, and the Bentley of Senakis. What a committed move that was down the inside of the final corner. He saw the opportunity. He said thank you very much, and it's now up into the podium places. Still a pit stop to go, but what an impressive move there from Peach to pull that one off. As now we look to Underwood versus Rockford again towards the towards the penultimate corner and the final corner here at Zandvoort. The Honda is not going to be anywhere close to Underwood this time around. They're separated by quite a bit as the Honda now coming into the pit lane. Underwood is left on his own, but what a move there from Senakis to pull that one off.
Incredible moves from Senakis, putting him into third. Like, this is exactly where he'll want to be. Still pit stop left. Shady Samuel not too far behind. Not enough time to give Senakis any really excitement for first or anything, but a top 10 is definitely on the boards if he's able to push that car around the track as fast as he can. Now it's just a matter of when will Senakis pit, when will Chalmers pit as well. We've got all these drivers up here. Rashudi's still out on the track as well. Oh, no, sorry, never mind. Rashudi pitting now for their final pit stop of the race. Let's hope not for another stop-go 30 for Rashudi here. But we are on to the final, 6 drivers for their pitting, and we'll see as they go along. Shady Samuel's still holding it strong on the track as well, pushing along. Maddox, who was one of the first to pit in the race, also still holding out strong back in the top 10 now, completed their pit stops as well. We're looking at pretty much our lineup for what is going to come out of the pits. Now it's just a matter of who can hold the most consistency along the race, who's got the best lap times, and who's going to finish this race strong.
Yes, Ramez Samuel's pace has really impressed me there as a Pro-Am driver in the Mercedes, looking on for a provisional P4. It's really, really, really impressive from the 223 car. And not a provisional podium, sorry, he's just come out behind Rashuti, but a provisional top 6 result, which is absolutely outstanding from the Mercedes as we look to Hislop versus Maddox here through the middle sector. The McLaren won't try find a move here. I think he's just going to be patient, even though there's 15 minutes to go as the Aston Martin makes a mistake. That's his. Oh wait, no, that's the car. He's fighting for position. Oh wait, yeah, it is. Anyway, for some reason I somehow mistaked a bloody Aston. Anyway, old tires versus new tires. We'll just go with that. Anyway, the McLaren threw into the P6 spot, and I'm just going to stop talking now because I'm just digging the hole deeper and deeper.
That's all right. I'll take over. Hislop losing out against Maddox then. Still another pit stop to go for Hislop as well. So not really much of a fight that he'd want to do anyway, because in any sense, he's not really in the fight here for that position. And it is, again, another wonder of when they're going to pit and like how long it's going to take and how well their pit is going to go. This is just hard driving from everybody. This is where it all counts. The last 13 minutes of the race, yellow flag out on the track, which it's not because they're in the pits. It's just one of those things. With Pano in the pits now. Shady Samuel still holding on strong in fifth, making up that space, making up that time. Page holding out, I believe, not too far ahead, but still holding on strong there, setting lap times. Last lap 35.5, so that is great. And you see that Shady Samuels last one was 34.9, so Shady is definitely catching. It is, yeah, again, now a matter of consistency. Whose car's got that those tires, who changed their tires, who's pushing strong, who's holding strong, and hopefully we get some good racing for the end of this race here in the last, as we come into the last 12 and a half minutes left.
Yep, this is gloves off time for everybody who's out there on the track. Anybody who can possibly be fighting for position right now will begin to scrap away as hard as they can, as Shady Samuel looking on for quite a dominant performance with all the drivers ahead of him still waiting to box for their fuel once again. And yeah, 12 minutes to go here, and it's been a very, very impressive drive from Shady Samuel. There's always the what if on if Senakis didn't get a penalty, as Senakis does come into the pit lane. But that's on Senakis. Samuel made the best of it, and right now he just has 11 minutes 55 seconds to go until he's home free here in the Netherlands, and I think he's going to be quite happy with this one if he brings it home.
So I'm going to say Shady Samuel has made that pass on Senakis, which means that if I'm looking at the right spot, Shady Samuel should be in technically first now. With only a few cars ahead, Chalmers will probably be the main one that he's going to have a problem with. Who's currently 25 seconds ahead of second place. We'll see how well that works out for Chalmers up there at the front. Doing pretty consistent lap times between 35 and 36. That's not too bad of a difference in time. And so he'll be holding on strong in that Bentley, putting that Bentley Pride up at the front in the top 10. So they can, coming out of the pits, I believe we're going to find out in a second. It looks like 11th place is where he's going to sit. But yeah, Shady Samuel looks to be holding my driver of the day so far. Consistency has been key here, and he's been holding on very, very strong.
Yeah, I would agree with you at this current moment, as he's right up behind Bolt, who's still yet to make a pit stop. But you would imagine, approaching the 10 minutes to go, we could see the McLaren in right in front of Shady Samuel as they round the penultimate corner and now flat out around the final corner. If not, Samuel will be hunting a move, but will the McLaren pull into the pit lane? No, he doesn't. So Samuel in the slipstream is gaining, pulls to the right hand side, and he's going to go down the inside towards the braking zone. Mustang versus McLaren. There's nearly wheel rubbing there, but space is left. A lot of respect between these two drivers, and Samuel makes the move up into the podium places without even needing the car in front to pit. He is on a charge here, even if the cars in front of him don't pit.
Yep, and he's really just he's making up that time very, very quickly and doing all he can to make these passes. This is where it's going to come down to whether he's going to go for that really aggressive nature, especially with Maddox approaching not too far behind, whether he's going to go for that aggressive nature and try to push ahead of these cars before they even pit, or play it a bit more safe and sit behind them and wait it out. But knowing Shady Samuel from the last race, I think he's the type of driver who's just going to push it out and try to get ahead just on speed without worrying about the pit stops.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense for Samuel, because at the end of the day, if he has the pace, he's just going to use it, as there is under 10 minutes to go left in this race. And normally I'd ask this post-race, but I just want to know your thoughts at this current stage. If you had 3 words to describe this race at this current point, what would you describe it as?
Intense, strategic, SG30.
Oh no, you should have said Bentley, but anyway.
Bentley gets enough love.
You just don't want to go mentally insane from saying Bentley too many times. You don't want to think it's not a real word or something. As Ben Dyke comes into the pit lane. So does Bolt here with just over 8.5 minutes to go. And Shady Samuel is in the P2 place just waiting for Chalmers to pit. I think he's going to pull the JC strategy and pit with about 3 minutes to go left in the race. The Bentley 31 laps in so far. So that is the amount of laps we've had in this race. He's only made 1 pit stop, so he's got 1 more to go, but I don't think that Samuel's too bothered about having a car in front of them that's yet to pit, despite them being 26 seconds up the road. As here is the pit lane entry replay of the McLaren. Oh, I think he sped, and 2, wow, that's a big wall tap.
That is a little bit of a wall touch, which you really don't want happening, especially in these later stages of the race. Any damage? And that is Bolt going off at that SG30 plus the. See, I did say SG30 was the word of the day, but not what you want happening now. But if we do also look, Michael Babb, who started in the pits at the very back, is now up to 11th position, probably looking for a top 10 for the end of this race. Last 7 minutes. That was almost a DQ according to Lucas Keys, which I'm guessing that speed was just a bit too much. But definitely an interesting race out here tonight. As we are on Bab, who was racing fast. Shady Samuel still in second position, 26 seconds behind Chalmers, which I think is not enough for Chalmers to keep in first, but it could be enough for him to keep in the top 5 of this race. We are still interested in seeing where Sonicus is also going to come out, currently in 9th position after having an SG30 and completing 2 pit stops. Amazing race by Sonicus as well, but I would not give him driver of the day just for that SG30.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely the case, but he is having a absolutely phenomenal drive in that Bentley. He is just, top 10 from a stop-go 30, a lap down from the leader before that as well. It's really, it's such an impressive drive from Page, but he continues to push on 12.5 seconds in front of the next car, so unless there's a crash, I think that is where he is going. Actually, he might get a P8 because of Hislop still needing to pit, but anyway, a top 10 regardless is really impressive for Senakis post stop go 30, and honestly, as Chalmers finally comes into the pit lane for the last time he was 6 minutes to go, I know that it's always a darkened moment in his race to get a stop go 30, and I think for that he can't get driver of the day, but if I had to pick a driver of the day that wasn't Shady Samuel, it would still be Senakis, despite the stop go 30 ruining what was going to be quite an impressive win. Coming back for a top 10 is phenomenal driving from Senakis, just showing his class in that Savannah Bentley, which is just so stunning.
It definitely shows why he deserves that pro badge next to his name, and why he is one of the better drivers that I know within OOR. So good to see him doing as much work as he can and still participating very strongly within the split red. But as we are in the last 5 minutes of the race, I do want to ask, what are your total thoughts on this whole race? Well, what do you think about it so far? Long.
I mean, I definitely think Zandvoort was never going to create side-to-side racing, well, not too much of it, so I think that what we've seen with the strategy playing out, a lot of pit lane entry fumbles as well, I think it's been really entertaining, as that is an Aston Martin going very, very wide in front of Samuel. That's his lot, but anyway, I think it's been really, really interesting from all the drivers, just seeing all the variation in strategy, and yeah, it's just been really interesting. I think this race, it hasn't been the most intense or exciting wheel-to-wheel wise, but definitely interesting.
And if we move back to our AM drivers as well, who have also been racing very hard over here, Igor, who I believe also got a penalty pretty early on, still in 15th position, holding on very strong into that top 15. That's very good achievement. That's where I love to be, in the top 15. And then you've also got O'Brien still holding a strong 13th position as well. That's, again, another great driver out on this track tonight, battling up with those people in the top 10. Real in the other Bentley, that is a silver class driver. I do want to say there's quite a lot of primes in that top 10. I feel like there should be a little bit of a change for some of them in terms of class, maybe even up to silver. But yeah, great racing all around tonight from a lot of these drivers. Michael Babb again. Maddox for Pro, I do agree with that. That is incredible driving. Second position currently. Silver class, like, that's definitely an upgrade. But yeah, Michael Babb from the back of the field, currently catching up to Ben Dyke, maybe making it into the top 10, depending on how this goes with Hislop. And yeah, this is great. This is very, very great. It looks like, it's going to be a double podium for the Samuels.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very good from both of the Samuels and Maddox taking the P2 as well, which we already touched on. So it's been a good little race as we look to Hislop versus Samuel again, but still that Aston Martin having to take another pit stop at some point with under 3 minutes to go. You'd expect it to be this lap, but we'll see what the Aston Martin decides to do as we head through the final sector. Ramez Samuel is going through the penultimate corner now in the 223 Mercedes, and now at the final corner, and surely you would expect Hislop to pull into the box this lap. Is he going to? No. He's going to go for a final lap pit stop. That's brave, as we now go back to Bluff versus Zavaka in the first sector, heading towards the middle sector now. Car 66 versus car 99 for the place here at the for the P13 place here at the end of the race. Zavaka also recovering from a penalty he was given earlier on in this race, so it's interesting to see Pro-Am versus Am driver here. It's our Am leader, no, our Am P2 sitter versus the Pro-Am P5 sitter as they head towards the final sector now. Zavaka closing in quite rapidly, but I think he's going to wait for the straight. And now through the long left towards the penultimate corner and the final corner now. And Zavaka in hot pursuit here of Bluff as they round the final corner. It's a great run from the McLaren as now flat out all the way down towards turn 1. Is Zavaka going to be close enough? I don't think he's going to be anywhere near, despite his run off of the final corner. So not enough at this stage, as there is less than a minute to go in this race, and Shady Samuel has begun the final lap of this 60-minute race here in Zandvoort, and I think it's time to appreciate his racing tonight. He has had phenomenal pace, made the best of Sinakis' mistake, and he's going to pick up the victory tonight if all goes well, as Hislop finally comes into the box. It'll be interesting to see where he comes out, but the timer is ticking to less than 30 seconds as Chalmers is also going to be under pressure from his fellow Bentley as they head down towards turn 1 on the final lap, but nothing to avail at this point. And yeah, it's been a very impressive performance from all drivers inside the top 10, and a lot of drivers as well outside of that top 10. I just think to survive a race here around Zandvoort with the strategy as well is highly, highly impressive, and it's so nice to see. And a lot of the drivers surviving very well as the timer hits 0:00:00, and Shady Samuel, I'm not sure where he is on the racetrack, is moments away from taking the victory, as he is more than 2 seconds. No, he's not. Well, is he? I can't even read it through the multi-camera.
2 seconds. Just under 2 seconds in Maddox.
Yeah, just under 2 seconds out in the lead here, but the final lap now is a lot of drivers crossing the line, and Shady Samuel rounds the final corner, victorious in Zandvoort, takes the win after 60 minutes. He's going to be happy with that one. Maddox comes home in P2. Remez Samuel is going to round the final corner and pick up P3 to round out the final podium places. We go back to Chalmers versus Real as they round through the final 2 corners. Chalmers is going to hold on for the edge of the top 6 between the 2 Bentleys. It's 3 Bentleys for P6, 7, and 8, and a Bentley further down the field. I believe there was more than 3 Bentleys at the start of this race, but Sinakis and a mega recovery drive is going to take home the P8 as we go back to Zavaka versus Bluff. He's running out of places to get a move done, and Gobe has also joined in to the party. Zavaka overshoots the right-hander just a little bit there, and now Gobe is trying to find the inside, thought about committing to the move as they head down towards the final sector for one last time here in the Netherlands. Will we see a final lap blockbuster move here for P15 from Gobe or for P14 from Zavaka? I don't think so. I think that the track is just going to run out here with how close and how single file it is through the final 2 corners. The 3-car train, I think, will stay stagnant here as they round the penultimate corner, and now they round the final corner for P14, 15, and 16. These 3 have had a little bit of a mega train going on here to the line. If there's one more lap, I think we would have seen Zavaka go for a move, and he actually does pull to the right-hand side as if he was going for one, but race over, and that is your final results. Jaden, would you want to take us away for these?
Sure, let's go into it. The great race from everybody out there tonight. Some great driving, and interesting to see where everybody ended up with each strategy as we head into the overall of the race. It is a bit of a change up from the qualifying, with Shady Samuel taking first, Maddox taking second, Samuel taking third. That is our race winners. We have for our silver class, Maddox taking first, second on overall, Real taking second, and Bab taking third. Somehow he got away with silver. We got Remez Samuel taking first in the Pro-Am, with Salvaggio taking second and Chalmers taking third. That's the Pro-Am class. And for our Am, we have O'Brien taking first, Igor Zavaka taking second, and Gobe taking third. That is our M class for this evening. Thank you for joining us with Split Red as we watch some awesome donuts by the Bentleys. Yeah, thank you for joining us for Split Red. I've been Jaden Ronzanella. I've enjoyed the split. Definitely driver of the day for me was Shady Samuel. Consistency was key for tonight, and it goes very well. What about for you, Lindsay? I'm going to be signing off there if you want to sign off for the whole Split Red.
Yep, so my driver of the day is also going to be Shady Samuel, and his win, very impressive as we look at Mike Reel doing some absolutely wonderful burnouts. But yeah, that is going to be all for the Octane Online Racing Simrigs Sprint Series, round number 2 here in Zandvoort. It's blue and red done. I believe that North America is tomorrow, early in the morning for us Aussies, but that is going to be all for tonight's proceedings, and that is Octane Online Racing signing out for the night.